CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the New Orleans Saints against the Los Angeles Rams.
Welcome to Anaheim Stadium in Los Angeles, California. And in the background, ladies and gentlemen, the conclusion of our national anthem.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Crowd of 50,000 plus gathered here on a gorgeous December afternoon, week 14 of the National Football League season, for this encounter between the New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams still involved in wild card playoff possibilities. The Rams much more so a realistic possibility than are the New Orleans Saints. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Terry Bradshaw. Terry, this has been a tumultuous week again in New Orleans. They were demolished by the Niners in the second half last week. Their owner, John Mecom, said, "Color me gone. I'm fed up. The team is for sale." Now, if you're a player, in the midst of all this tumultuousness, how do you handle yourself?
Well, you laugh like I'm doing right now. I like that word, color me gone. I've never seen that color, but anyway, he said it, so he must mean it. As a player, though, I'd say, well, heck, I never seen him play it down or hit a soul, and I wouldn't worry about it. But in talking to the Saints, they said, hey, you know, they've given up on us. We still think we have a chance. We're going to go out there today. And the Rams, we hope they've given up on us, and we're going to go out there and take this game away from them. By golly, you watch and see. So we'll see.
Now, of course, compounding their problems, they've got to get ready for Eric Dickerson, who is chasing O.J. Simpson's single-season record. How do you get ready to stop a man like this?
Well, you can make a big mistake, I think, when you put all your eggs in one basket. And their eggs today are going to be in stopping Eric Dickerson. Now, what they're going to do is put Whitney Paul, 51, and they're going to mirror him on Goodman, number 44, as he leads for Dickerson on their blocking. Now, when they do that, they'll bring their safeties up. And Bird, quite honestly, while they stop Dickerson, they'll have a hard time stopping their receivers.
All right, Terry, we're set to go. It's a gorgeous day, 74 degrees. And the Rams won the earlier encounter between these two teams 28-10 as Jeff Kemp tossed for 3 touchdowns in that victory. New Orleans has won the toss, and they will receive going from left to right. Mike Lansford is ready to kick off. Jitter Fields and Hokie Guyjon are the 2 deep men, or Tyrone Anthony it is, instead of Hokie Guyjon. Jitter Fields and Tyrone Anthony back at the goal line. Lansford has been bothered by a virus problem all week and had almost the same kind of an effect on him as mononucleosis might. They brought a couple of veteran kickers in just in case Mike could not go, but he's set to go. Jitter Fields at the 5. Back to the 19-yard line, from which point the Saints will put it in play, first down and 10. Offensive lineup for the New Orleans Saints. Richard Todd will start at quarterback. Hokie Guyjon and George Rogers in the backfield. The wide receivers will be Jeff Groth and Lindsey Scott, who is starting in place of an injured Tyrone Young. The offensive line at left tackle, Kelvin Clark. Brad Edelman at left guard. The center is John Hill. Steve Court back at right guard after an absence of a week. Stan Brock at right tackle. And the tight end is Hobie Brennan. First down and 10 from the 19. Backs in the eye. This is Jeff Groth in motion, number 86. Short man, Guyjon, big hole. And he may have enough for the first down out to the 30. Hokie has missed the last 2 weeks with a calf injury. Vince Newsom and Gary Green make the tackles defensively for Los Angeles. We're having a problem with our Chiron machine. That is the machine that puts the graphics up on the screen for you. So we'll verbally introduce the defensive lineup. Reggie Doss, Greg Meisner, Jack Youngblood up on the front line. Mike Wilcher, Jim Collins, Carl Eckern, and Mel Owens, the linebackers. The corners are Leroy Urban and Gary Green. And the safeties, Vince Newsom and Johnny Johnson. First down, 10 Saints. Rogers with Guyjon in front to the 33-yard line. And the tackle made by number 58, Mel Owens. And number 55, Carl Eckern, 8-year man out of San Jose State.
Well, they're coming out right off the bat doing the things that we've seen them do all year long. They got good line charge. The right side of their line has played well. Their centers really come off the ball early, and they're dominating in this first series of downs, Vern.
Lindsey Scott comes wide to the right side. Second down and 7. Dodge on again. It'll be third and a long 5 yards as Mel Owens makes the tackle, and there is also a flag down.
Got a late flag there. Probably one of those unique holding calls, huh? It's a good job that time by the nose tackle, Greg Meisner, number 69. Young man out of Pittsburgh.
You watched him in college, didn't you?
You bet. Up there around New Kensington. Nice place.
There's Meisner now in his 4th year.
Holding, 62 offense, second down.
Got old Hill that time. John Hill, the center, number 62.
John Hill in his 13th year out of Lehigh. Did not expect to start most of this year. They were going to program Steve Court as a starting center, but they've had so many nicks and injuries in the offensive line that Hill has played much of the season.
Actually, their starting center is playing right guard for them today. Steve Court at right guard.
120.
Growth in motion, number 86. Todd with time looks for the screen pass. He'll be sacked.
Meisner.
That's the second sack for Meisner this year, and it is the 15th sack against the Saints in the last 2 games and a third of a quarter.
You know, what's really is unusual about this is not that he doesn't have the talent to make a sack, Vern, but just that rarely do nose tackles make sacks. Normally they'll put the center heel on him, maybe help out with a guard, either Edelman, 63, or 60 Court, but hardly ever do you see a nose tackle make a sack. By golly, he did it then.
Greg Meisner had 1.5. He's now got 2.5 for the season, and it's third and Miles. Third down, 27. Gajan, the only setback. Rams adjust defensively. They send 4 men at Richard Todd. Still loose, but nobody open downfield, and he'll have to give it up at the 23-yard line.
I'll tell you, that is great hustle. You know, these guys take, like I was saying earlier, they get hit 2 or 3 times. Now watch this. Greg Meisner, center of your screen, folks, 69, the old right hand. Then Court pops him on. He goes around Court. Then Brock pops him on. He says, okay, now get away from you. There goes Richard. Now I got to chase Doggone. Now I got to run after Richard. And he runs, and by golly, he makes the tackle. Now that is great effort. Good. That's a good job there, Greg.
Back-to-back fine plays by Meisner. Brian Hansen will punt on 4th and 17. And Henry Ellard, who has returned for an average of 14.8 yards this season, as the kick is almost blocked. Ellard from the 33-yard line. Almost to the 45. And the Rams offense comes on the field as Jim Peterzak makes the tackle. That was a 43-yard kick, 12 on the return. Had a hang time of 4.5. We're early in the first quarter, no score. In the first month of the season, Vince Ferragamo injured a knuckle in the index finger of his throwing hand. He has not been back in since. And Terry, I don't know if he will play again this year.
Well, he's got a socket problem, and I talked to him yesterday. He said, gee, you know, it's just a lot of swelling. He said, I swear, I think I've got a bone growing out the side of my thumb. But this young man, Jeff Kent, number 9 there, played quarterback, and they're 73 with him at the throttle.
They kept it conservative last week, camped through only 10 times. John Robinson said he'd like to have him throw 20 times today. He will not on first down. This is Eric Dickerson for a pickup of 6. Offensive backfield will have Kemp at quarterback, Eric Dickerson at the tailback spot, and David Hill is a last-minute replacement at the U-back spot, or up-back, for Mike Gooman. Gooman injured his finger, broke his finger, as a matter of fact, in practice. The tight end, James McDonald, Drew Hill at one wide receiver spot and Henry Ellard at the other. And the offensive line from left to right, Irv Pankey, Kent Hill, Doug Smith, Dennis Hara, and Bill Bain. John Robinson gave each of them a game ball for the victory over Tampa Bay last week. Second down and 3, just across midfield.
3-18. 85. 65.
Checking off.
65.
And he'll throw. Nope, tipped away. by Tony Elliott, who is starting at Derlin Moore's spot at nose guard.
What happened then? He came up and saw the corners pressing Kemp, the quarterback. Saw the corners up and the safeties were evenly split. They had a run on, so he checked off and tried to get the tight end down the middle, but there was good coverage, and the tight end actually didn't get loose. The linebacker did a good job of holding him up. Kemp couldn't get anyone open, finally threw the ball, and it was knocked away. One change here, I said earlier that Guman, number 44, would be the U-back. Actually, it's McDonald, number 83, Vern, who's playing the U-back, so that broken thumb is going to keep him out of this game.
That happened on Friday, and he really had problems with the cast. Third down and 3. Kemp with time, going deep, way downfield, incomplete. Intended for Drew Hill.
Well, this is what we had said earlier, was the fact that they're going to stop the run, we're going to throw the pass. And Drew Hill, number 87, by golly, he had old Poe, Johnny Poe, 25, beaten. There's a pass, just barely missed his hand. Now, once again, what they did, 83, who was the U-back the time before, he went to the line of scrimmage as a tight end, and 81, Hill came to U-back. So we'll probably see that all day long.
John Misko is on to punt, and he's had problems the last 2 games. He's averaged only 33 yards per kick his last 9 kicks. Matter of fact, Los Angeles brought Russell Erchleben into town earlier this week, just in case. Whoops.
There's the old flag.
Jitter Fields, you've got to give the man a chance to make the catch. And the Rams special teams did not.
You know, those guys are running down the field, and the coach says, look at the guy that's catching the receiving the punt. He'll tell you where the ball is. There it is, pushing, watch Jitter Fields. He gets the old hand up there, step. There's that right hand. Vern goes up, says, hold it, fellas, give me some room. I'm going to catch it. Don't touch me. Well, gee, I'm sorry. Run right into him, got a little flag.
It'll be called on Mike Pleasant. Here's Tom Dooley to
interference with the opportunity to make a catch. Number 43 of the kickers, first down.
Mike Pleasant, the rookie from Oklahoma, so New Orleans gets the ball for the second time, and they've got the ball at their own 30-yard line. We're scoreless with 10:59 to go first quarter. Just under 11 minutes to go first quarter from Anaheim Stadium. Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw, George Rogers and Hokie Gajan in the St. backfield as Richard Todd brings them up. First down and 10 from the 30. No score in the game.
Rogers and Gajan, running back.
Here's a rarity, the Saints throwing on first down. And going deep left side, Groth is open. First down at the 48-yard line. Well, there's a bit of a surprise, Terry.
Well, it's something that, you know, people have been saying all along. They really wanted to see the Saints open up their offense. Hey, you're too predictable. We want to see you throw it more. So now they get out here and they bring Groth in motion. As you can see him in the left of your screen, number 86, folks. Comes in motion. They snap the football, little play action. Number 22, Vince Newsom, stays with him inside, leans on him inside, and then leans outside. It's man-for-man coverage. Boy, that's just a good throw, good route. First down.
First time New Orleans has been across midfield. They have a first and 10 at the 48-yard line. See the stats on Jeff Groth for the season. Play fake. Again on first down. Todd with nobody open, sacked for the second time. That's 2 today. Reggie Dawson, Greg Meisner share the trophy.
Well, credit good coverage that time by their secondary. The Rams secondary did a good job of stopping their tight end, stopping their receivers. And that time when the Todd came out and with his play action, held everyone momentarily, but the good rush by the ends and everything, got inside, no one open, got a sack.
Gajan back in the lineup as the sole running back now. Junior Miller has come in as an extra tight end. He and Larry Hardy split on either side of the ball. And Todd turns around to change the play at the line. Check me.
Check me. Said, listen to me. There you go.
Watch out. Intercepted. Leroy Irvin, he'll score.
We're going to watch this again. He hollers, check me. The back comes out and does not pick up number 54, Milton. There's the pass. Todd did not have time to get set. He threw the football before the back broke, didn't see the ball. Irving, 47, Irvin pulls up in front of it, gets the football, interception, touchdown. Mike Welcher, you credit him with that.
Welcher coming from the right side, and that is the second touchdown this year on an interception by Leroy Irvin. That one of 51 yards. He had an earlier score, 81 yards out. Lansford with the extra point. It's good. Now in his 5th year from the University of Kansas, and he puts the Rams on top 7-0 with 10:08 to go first quarter. Richard Todd has been intercepted for the 18th time this year. It was Leroy Irvin who did it, returned at 51 yards. And that has put the Rams on top early in the first quarter.
Johnny Robinson's got to feel good about that, huh? Gee, we got one with the old defense.
Lansford with a kick, Jitter Fields. Tyrone Anthony. Instead, number 22. At the 25-yard line. Doug Smith made the tackle. Of course, a lot of early games in the National Football League today. Our game, one of the 3 late games this afternoon. And our score 7-0 on Irvin's pass interception return for the touchdown. Rams, of course, trying to go 9-5 and stay in the thick of the wild card chase. They got a lot of company at that spot as Dallas won today 26-10, overcoming a very difficult day for Danny White. The Giants are 9-5. They defeat the Jets 20-10. St. Louis stays a game back 33-10, the final over New England in New England. Growth in motion, high formation. Rodgers fumbled. It's happened a couple of times this year, most recently last week. But this time they'll rule the ball down and a loss of 5 yards.
Well, you know, when a football team has had as much trouble as the Saints have had, especially after last week's disappointing loss to the 49ers, you come out and the basic things in their offense is the pitch to the tailback. That's something that, you know, it's just something that shouldn't happen. The pitch should be there. It's very simple. Turn around, lob it out there. The back should keep his eyes on it, get it. And, you know, at that time, evidently, Rodgers just took his eyes off of it and fumbled the football. And doggone near gave him the ball again on the 20-yard line.
How about that? Kansas City leading Denver in the fourth quarter by 3. Second down and 15. That's 3 sacks. Gary Jeter, who is back in after sitting out much of the season with an injury. He is playing in place of Jack Youngblood. Youngblood started for the 201st time today, but he's been bothered, Terry, by a sciatic nerve, a back problem, and apparently is hampering him more than we thought.
Well, he missed most of the practice this week. They said he could not push off. He didn't have any strength there, and he would push and the leg would give, and it was a lot of pain to it. I saw him yesterday. He was getting treatment on it. You know, he said, hey, you know, they're so used to this guy being here and playing that they expect him to be there today, but now Jeter's there.
In the first 11 games this year, only 20 sacks. They've had 3 already today. Draw play, Tyrone Anthony. And he gets it out only to the 13-yard line. It'll be 4th down. How do you explain the sudden collapse of the offensive line of New Orleans with that only 20 sacks the first 11 games?
Well, they played against the 49ers, one of the finer sack teams. They had Fred Dean in the game. He got 2 sacks. There was a lot of pressure. They got people that are playing that really aren't 100%. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but they've got people that are not 100%. Hey, you know, it's the later part of the season, everybody's banged up.
For the second time here in the first quarter, Brian Hansen on the punt, and Henry Ellard waits at the Ram 43-yard line. Hansen with a 44.5 average. Rookie from Sioux Falls. That'll get a New Orleans bounce and will not be returned as it limps out of bounds at the 41-yard line. 45 yards on the kick with a hang time of only 3.4 seconds.
They got the beat.
Our score 7-0, 8:04 to go. .804 to go first quarter. The Rams lead the New Orleans Saints 7-0 on Leroy Irvin's 51-yard interception return for a touchdown. With Terry Bradshaw, I'm Vern Lundquist. We're at Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California. The Saints and the Rams having at it in week 14. Jeff Kemp so far has thrown 2 times and has yet to find a completion. Dickerson. He has a knack, Terry, of delivering the punishment, doesn't he?
Well, this is the thing that they were saying. They said you can watch Eric Dickerson, number 29, right there, folks. When he gets ready or when he sees a hole, he's like a turkey. His old head will pop up, and boy, he just accelerates. That time he goes outside, and they come at him. Boy, he delivers a blow. They said it's amazing that in that last 10 inches, right before contact is made, he is the one who delivers the force and knocks people down. That time he did it, got himself 5-6 yards.
Denver has lost for the second time in as many weeks as Nick Lowry kicked 3 field goals in the final quarter. The last with 2 minutes to go. give Kansas City the upset victory. And Pittsburgh and Houston in overtime. 2nd down and 5. Dickerson comes left. Hit at the line. He gets to the 50. It'll be 3rd and 1 as Tony Elliott makes the tackle, number 99. Of course, Eric Dickerson in his 2nd year from SMU is off to another great year. Last year with 1,808 yards. And he has almost a 300-yard lead over Walter Payton going into games today. Chasing O.J. Simpson, he needs to average 124 yards in each of the final 3 games in order to pass that 2,003-yard mark.
I tell you, 62 Bill Bain just decked him that time. Boy, he pulled around, did a good job.
The big guy at right tackle.
You bet.
Hill in motion. Dickerson pitch. To the 33-yard line. Russell Gary made the tackle.
I tell you, this is a good job. He had the offensive line, had the guards that time pulling out outside, leading to the left. Dickerson took the little pitch, got in behind him. Boy, they did a good job of seeing. There's big. Look at this guy. That's Bill Bain, folks. Look at that guy. He is huge. What a character he is. Been a nice talk with him. He's a funny fella. And an all-pro. This guy's playing up to pro potential this year. We'll get into more about him later, but he is quite a character.
He's a big character. Barry Redden in the backfield now. Number 30. Number 1 draft choice in 82 for the Rams. Ron Brown in motion. Kemp going deep, could be intercepted. Nope, knocked away. A nice defensive play by Henry Ellard, the wide receiver, as Kemp was decked.
Well, I'll tell you, Henry Ellard, number 80, boy, he did a super job. This is a guy that was a defensive back in college, Vern, and this is the thing that he showed right then was the fact that he can play defense. Watch, he has this man, he turns Dave Waymer, number 44, around. They're even. The ball is actually underthrown. Now, David Waymer, 44 for the Saints, goes up for the interception, and then it turns around that Ellard, number 80, he's playing defensive back, knocks the ball down, saved an interception.
6:23 to go first quarter. It'll be 2nd and 10, 7-0 Rams on top. Dickerson back in the lineup. He's got 32 yards so far. He's to the 28 as Dennis Winston and Jim Kovach make the tackle. Gave you the final on Denver, Kansas City, 16-13. Seattle leading Detroit 7-0. They can take a 1-game edge with a victory today. And the Raiders leading Miami 7-0 in the first quarter in the Orange Bowl. And that Denver loss will keep alive the Raider hopes of a wild card, I'm sure. 3rd and 4 with 5:54 to go first quarter. Kemp is now 0 for 3. And Dickerson with 38 yards on 5 carries. Half roll by Kemp, which he does so well. He'll scramble and pick up the first down play.
You know, we were talking to the offensive lineman. We were asking him about Jeff Kemp, the things that he does so well. They said, well, the kid, you know, he really keeps his head about him. He doesn't panic that easily. He's always smiling, and said, we really don't want to mess that up. So we kind of leave the guy alone. But he said the thing he gives us that Vince Ferragamo doesn't is good feet. This guy can get outside and run, and right there he shows great athletic ability by getting outside of the rush, getting past Clark, number 75, put the heat on him, gets down there and gets him the first down.
Dwayne Crutchfield has joined the offensive backfield as he and Dickerson will work in the split back position. Crutchfield to the left, Dickerson directly behind Jeff Kemp on 1st and goal from the 10. Still in motion. Dickerson, 7-yard line. Jim Kovach made the tackle. Bill Bain is down for the Los Angeles Rams.
We're going to watch this again. You see 91, the up back that time, the U back they call him. Hill gets a good job, seals back inside. Jackson, 57, chases Dickerson, grabs it from behind. He pulls away from them and then gets on down there. And finally, Kovach, number 52, makes the tackle. That was a good job. The thing that's interesting about the Rams blocking scheme, Vern, is like so many of these teams that we've found at a National Football Conference is they really get up inside to do that position blocking. Bill Bain, 6'2", is the guy that's injured.
He's having an all-pro year, so says his coach, John Robinson. Timeout has been called for the injury. Back in a moment. Bill Bain walked off by himself, all 315 pounds of him, and he's on the sideline. I think he's so big, they ought to give a team a first down for running around him. He looks like John Madden, doesn't he?
Well, I said that to him yesterday. Only kidding, of course. I was laughing a lot when I said it to him. But the guy's got such a great personality. He's funny. He makes fun of the fact that people make fun of the way he looks. And I'll tell you, he'll make a lot of money off of making fun of himself.
Second down, 6. Half roll by Kemp. Chased by Ricky Jackson into the end zone. Tipped out of bounds. David Hill knocked it away. And Russell Gary was back there defending along with Dave Waymer.
You can tell the difference in the offense that the Rams run now as opposed to when Ferragamo was the quarterback. You notice a lot of misdirection. Kemp comes out, fakes one side, and then sprints away from the flow trying to get people dragging across and getting them open. Does a good job, gives them time. That time it was just good coverage.
There's Bruce Clark, who is having a potential All-Pro year, particularly if you saw the Monday night game against Pittsburgh when he had a dream night. But he's played well all season long, and he and Bill Bain are going to have a battle for the rest of the afternoon.
It'll be something we want to keep our eyes on.
Bain is back in there now at right tackle. 3rd and 6. Draw play, Dickerson. That'll be 6. That is his 11th touchdown this year, and he's now got 49 yards on 7 carries.
Well, you got a good job this time. You see the guard, Hara pull down, the left guard pulls inside and leads out. 75, the tackle comes inside. That time, Pankey does a good job of blocking out. Jackson, the weak side linebacker, 57 for the Saints, actually blitzed and created that hole, and Pankey was able to seal off, and Dickerson get in the end zone.
Lansford to make it 14-0. Has done so. That was a 59-yard drive in 9 plays. One of the keys was a scramble by Jeff Kemp. The Rams are on top by 2 touchdowns. 4:01 to go first quarter. Eric Dickerson now with 49 yards. Again, he needs to average 124 over the final 3 games to break the 2003-yard mark set by O.J. Simpson in 1973. I was teasing him yesterday, Terry. I said, if you got 373 today, then they won't put an asterisk by the record if you get it. And he's on a pretty good pace. Here's Jinder Fields, a rookie from Texas. Spins, keeps his balance, and finally drops to 23. The AFC Central is really interesting now. Cincinnati defeats Cleveland 20-17. They tied the game with no time left on a pass to Anthony Munoz, the tackle, who was eligible in the play. And then Houston has just defeated Pittsburgh. Joe Cooper with a 30-yard field goal.
Hard team to figure out, those Steelers.
Now look, 7-7 for the Steelers, and Cincinnati with that victory of 6-8.
Well, you got to really, the Bengals have done a great job this year under Weishaupt coming back after a disastrous start. The Steelers have been hot and cold all year long. Teams you expect them to win, they lose too. Then when you expect them to lose, they win. It's kind of been that kind of the year for them.
Injury for the Saints, the only man who has started at his right position for the last 2 years in the offensive line, Stan Brock. He's the only starter who has not been injured this year in the offensive line. 5-year man from Colorado. See if we can see what happened. He's number 67
there in the center of your screen now. There it comes. He rolled right up his back, roll right up the back of his legs, cut his legs right out from under. Well, that's one of those injuries there. Well, he's getting up, walking off kind of gingerly, but those are the kind of injuries, man, when you're standing around there and all of a sudden a guy rolls right up the back of your legs, and gee whiz, that's Mark Jarrell, number 59, right up his legs and caught him. Looks like he's going to be all right.
I'll tell you, he's a tough cookie, and I'll bet he's back.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's the one guy we were talking to. He's pretty doggone upset. He wants to win this game, and he wants everybody else to know he wants to win this football game.
We'll see who moves in at right tackle now. John Hill, number 62, comes up. Number 60 is Steve Court. And Kelvin Clark has gone over to right tackle from his left tackle spot.
And Ward went to left tackle.
Chris Ward. Rogers, not much there.
I tell you, Greg Meisner is playing one heck of a game. He's just blowing right through Hill that time and just stuffing the play in the back. He just comes right off that nose tackle position and slams that center back there and throws him right into the blockers. Watch this now. There comes the snap, and you look at Meisner, gets under the center Hill and gets position on Hill before Hill can get position on him. Boy, he's right in Rogers' way. There's not a back in the world, including Dickerson, that got a yard out of that.
Second down, 11. 3:20 to go first quarter.
I tell you, he looks like a number one today.
He really is having a heck of a first quarter. That's Jeff Grove, who turns around and goes the other direction. Pitch out to Gajan, and he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage. Jim Collins and Reggie Doss made the tackle.
Excuse me, Vern. That time they had the pitch out to the left side, and they pull Ward. Now Ward has come in. He's cold. He's not fresh, but he pulled outside. They supported with the corner who came up to make the tackle, and Chris ran right by him. And that way, there was no way for the back to go, so he went ahead and cut inside, trying to keep him losing yardage.
That makes it 3rd and 10 for the New Orleans Saints, and they trail 14-0 with 2:40 to go in the first quarter. Tyrone Anthony and Eugene Goodlow have come in, 3rd and 11 officially. 4-man rush by the Rams. Todd, who has been sacked 3 times, has the pass ball incomplete, as Jeff Gross got one hand on it, but that was it. Boy, he's getting pressured. Has not gone the way Bum Phillips might have wanted this year. It's been a very long year for him. Henry Ellard is back to return the kick now. Brian Hansen. That's John Levra standing and talking with Bum, trying to solve the puzzle, and the pieces aren't fitting together. So far, Hansen right near his average. Jim Kovacs looks around to see that Brian is okay. Ellard will have a chance to return it from the 38. Near midfield, and the Rams once more will enjoy good field position as Jimmy Rogers hustles down to make the tackle, number 41. 40-yard kick, 11 on the return. The hang time was only 3.9 seconds. Coming up next Saturday, CBS Sports presents NCAA basketball. The UNLV Runnin' Rebels against the number 1 Georgetown Hoyas, live at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. You'll have a chance to see Patrick Ewing and all of that bunch, and they've got just about everybody back except Michael Graham and a great basketball team. Jerry Tarkanian, I'm sure, will have his group ready to go. That's coming up next Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Our Dickerson watch continues. He's got 49 yards on 7 carries. And Kemp will throw for the 4th time. Tip? No, incomplete.
That was a good job that time. Tony Ellett, number 99, the nose tackle, believe it or not. Vern, he almost intercepted the pass. You know, one of the things that we said earlier in the broadcast was the fact that they would be sending the U-back in motion, and Whitney Paul would trail him and mirror him. Well, that hasn't happened, so I don't know if they've gotten away from that because they're 14 points down or not. One thing's very obvious early, though, Vern, the fact that they're running away from 57 Jackson. They're going to the left a lot and staying away from him. A lot of respect for that guy.
That's what the 49ers did last week in their 35-3 win. 2nd down and 10. Dickerson coming left. Doesn't get much this time. Tony Elliott made the tackle. Elliott, of course, is playing in the place of Derlin Moore, the 12-year vet, who went on injured reserve this week. Had an ankle injured last week in the game against San Francisco. Elliott just activated after getting the Saints got permission from the league. He had some problems. Had been involved in a drug rehabilitation program and came back and had some other difficulties to overcome, and he got back into the lineup. Now it's 3rd down and 9. 1:30 to go, first quarter, 14-0. Kemp being chased by Jim Wilkes. Look at this. 1st down. And somewhere, Bill Bain is going, that's what I told you. The guy can scramble.
He did. He turned around to me yesterday when he walked off got about 10 yards. He said, and I'll tell you, he said the kid can run. Now the kid can run. And I like that. I'm a big guy. I like to see him run with that football. Look at old Bain doing his job. Boy, he's wearing 75 out there. Did a good job. Now you get the little pressure, gets outside, 75 chasing him. Kemp, all that speed, beats Russell Gary, gets the 1st down.
Kemp has now carried twice for 30 yards.
Hey, this guy can play for me. I'd like for this guy to just hang around with me and shake me.
1st and 10. Wiggles for about 4 inside the 30. Ricky Jackson made the tackle.
We're going to see again. Look at Bain comes off. There's the headbutt by Clark, 75, and there's Bain just pushes and just rides on it. Back leads up inside on Jackson, but look at that, still going. I'll tell you what, now that you cannot ask for more than that. I said, well, Bill, are you in good shape? He said, you see that 5-yard mark over there, Terry? He said, I can do that all day long. I can go 5 yards all day long.
But I'm not like those wide receivers that have to run 40 and come back. Second and 5. Number 29, Dickerson. Not much there. We third down and 3.
You really have to give the Saints a lot of credit, Vern. You know, early in their season, they had a lot of trouble stopping runners that wanted to cut back. Riggs cut back on them for a couple of yards, but they're doing a good job here of keeping a guy like Dickerson from cutting back. See Jackson, 57 of the Saints, right there in the center of your screen, split the block, comes inside, makes the tackle. Cutback blocks have hurt this team as they haven't so far today.
Ricky Jackson thought he had gained possession of the football, but the officials declined to give it to him.
He came out in the papers and said, hey, I'm going to be blitzed. He told them exactly what he was going to do. And then John Robinson, the coach of the Rams, said, you know what? We listen to those guys. I believe players won't lie to us. And what he told us is going to happen, I believe will happen.
End of the first quarter. Back for the second quarter from Anaheim Stadium. The Rams on top over New Orleans 14-0 with Terry Bradshaw. I'm Vern Lundquist. We've got a third down and 4. Rams are 4 out of 5 on third down conversions in the first quarter, and they're second from last in the league. So they've gotten off to a good start in their third down conversion. Kemp, left flat, wide open. Barry Redden, first down at the 15. I think, Terry, it's safe to say this young man would be a starter for almost any other National Football League team.
Well, it's an unfortunate thing for Barry that he's on this football team with a guy like Dickerson. He acknowledges that, but he said, I want to win. I want to be on a football team that's winning, and I'll get my chance, and one of these days we'll get to a two-back set. But said, I know my role right now, and his role is getting out and catching third down passes, making the big plays when he has that opportunity, and he did that today. And by the way, that pass was made, that thing was successful because Barber really drug the corner and safety deep that time.
Another first down for the Rams. That is their 5th first down. They lead 14-0. Play fake. Yep. Eller, touchdown. Number 5 this season for Henry Ellard, the triple jump, world-class triple jumper at Fresno State. And Kemp, who threw only 10 times last week, completing 7, has now thrown 7 times and gotten his first touchdown today. Lansford for the extra point to make it 21-6.
Well, the thing that was interesting was the fact that the safeties came up tight. Once again, they came up tight to do this right here, stop the running game. They came up tight. He throws in right behind him. Look at this, wide open. Well, not really wide open. It was just a good, well-thrown ball, and Eller did a fine job of making a catch. Kovacs just sits there, watch the play action. Notice him come up right there. Whoop, doesn't have the ball. There's the ball behind me. Eller did a good job of catching that ball over Weimer. 44, gets in the end zone. Touchdown, 21-0, the Rams.
The Rams on top, 21-0. And Jeff Kemp gets his 11th touchdown toss this year. And he really, Terry, has kept the interceptions down as well as being active in passes.
Well, where he's getting saving on his interceptions is with his athletic ability and getting out of that pocket, not forcing things.
Lansford. Anthony to the 20. Doug Smith, or Jim Laughlin it was, who just activated, number 52, who made the tackle. Next Saturday, the NFL Today will report on the state of the game, from the competition between the goalposts to the competition on the airwaves. You'll hear from some of the principals involved, including NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle and more, next Saturday, beginning at 3:30 Eastern on the NFL Today. And that'll be followed by a chance once more to watch perhaps the finest team in the NFC, the 49ers. Well, I don't think there's any question they are the
best
finest in
record
the NFC. Absolutely. Against the Minnesota Vikings. First and 10, down 21-0. Saints from their own 20. Todd on first down wants to throw. He's now been sacked 4 times.
You know, this is an interesting piece of defensive work that the Rams did on the Saints. The Saints come up with their what really appears to a wing or an H-back, and then they waited, and when they came up with that, they brought the strong safety up over the H-back. Now, when they snapped the football, the safety blitzed that time, Vern, giving an indication that it's man coverage and that everyone is covered by a man. But what they did was took the linebacker back into his zone, just a plain old 4-man rush. Another thing, too, you got to realize they're blitzing over there with block number 67 is flying a football game.
Dodd to throw again. Goes deep, man is open. Junior Miller can't hang on. Word from the bench is that Stan Brock, number 67, who has started every game the last 2 years, has a sprained right knee and will not be back. And he's got to be angry about that.
That's a tough break.
So the anticipated battle between Jack Youngblood and Stan Brock will not happen today.
Well, it's interesting. 66 Oubre, he's got a bad toe. He's missed half the season. LaFari's been out all year long. They're fine all-pro tackle. So this is a football team that has just been decimated by injuries. Good word.
Decimated.
Looked it up.
I like it.
I do, too. I'm going to use it again.
Getting polysyllabic on me, aren't you?
Who?
3rd and 16. Dodd, tip, intercepted.
Owens.
Mel Owens, number 58. That's the first interception for Owens this year. The 19th interception for Richard Todd.
And boy, don't you know this is frustrating. Richard just said, gee, when he Christmas, what in the world have I got to do to get that ball into the right hands of the right people? Man, you know, it's frustrating. He's walking off and, you know, you're trying, you're doing your doggone to get the thing in there. You got to have big plays. There's Bum clapping for him, but you know doggone well that this is not a good feeling. It's a horrible feeling, actually, for a quarterback who's trying hard, but maybe a little bit too hard. Richard stands in there. He fires the football. Does a good job that time by number 55, Eckern, of tipping the football up and then having Owens come over and intercept the football. It's one of those things that goes down as an interception, but right there, that isn't an interception. That's an incomplete pass, and then you got great athletic out. There you go. Eckern comes over. Boy, he leaps and intercepts.
14 minutes to go in the first half. 21-0 already. Dickerson to the 30-yard line. Ricky Jackson and Frank Watlett made the tackle that time.
Number 81. Watch number 81 that time. Hill. See him comes outside. He's the designated hitter, the hit man in that offensive line. 81 just stymies 57. Jackson then turns him loose. Dickerson cuts inside and then finally comes off and makes the tackle. There he is, David Hill, number 81.
You know, he told me yesterday he played to a 6 handicap in golf. Yeah.
I bet he can hit the driver a long way.
I bet it'll go a ways, that's right. He certainly got the hip action into it. From the 30-yard line, 2nd down, 6. McDonald in motion, Dickerson. Does that as well as anybody to the 19-yard line. Russell Gary made the tackle. Dickerson already with 10 games over 100 yards this season. His low was 37 yards. He was held to that by the 49ers. But he's got 71 yards and 12 carries. Had a dilemma, Terry, yesterday. He's got turf toe problems, so he wears a plastic toe piece on both of his big toes. He lost them yesterday, and you should have seen him. I mean, it was Panic City. They had to go into the trash to find them. He'd accidentally thrown them away.
Has anybody seen my plastic toe turf covers?
Where are my toe pieces? Kemp will scramble again. Out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Eric Dickerson sometimes can block, though that is not his forte. Watch him.
Well, he said, I like to be different. I'm different than most running backs, and maybe he is. Here's a superstar that makes a good block and gives a little more time to the quarterback who gets outside and makes some yardage.
Talked to him about breaking O.J.'s record yesterday, and I said, do you want it? He says, you bet I want it. He said, 16 games or 14 games. He said, it would really make me proud and happy. And it's something that he covets a great deal and is well on his way to getting. Dwayne Crutchfield in as the eye back in front of Dickerson now. Crutchfield gets the handoff and plunges to the 13-yard line. Dennis Winston, number 56, made the tackle. Crutchfield, of course, acquired from the New York Jets by way of Houston. Was well on his way to a big year with the Jets when unexpectedly they waived him last year. And is the second leading ground gainer for the Rams this year, but light years behind Eric Dickerson. 3rd down, 5. Rams are 5 of 6 on third down conversions. They lead 21-0 with 11:48 to go in the first half. Blitz picked up nicely. Pass caught at the 9-yard line.
I believe they're going to mark him just a little bit short.
David Hill made the tackle and the catch, and Frank Watson made the tackle.
So this Hill was quite a receiver when he was up in Detroit. He was a little bit lighter, and they brought him down here, and Johnny Robinson said, look, you're going to play for me, you're going to block. So what he did when he put a little weight on, and by golly, they say he's the finest blocking tight end in the National Football League.
Barry Redden comes in on 4th down as the Rams will go for it. Passing on Lansford, who has hit 11 of his last 12. Russ Bollinger has also come into the lineup, and they will go from a split back formation. Might be enough.
I always admire a coach who will send his best runner after those 4th and 1s. Big, strong guy. There he is, number 9. I guarantee you, he's about the only one that could squirm and squeak through those little cracks that are created by the line that time.
Ignore Dickerson. Let me carry it.
That's right. That's right. They're going to measure here to see if he made it. I used to, early in my career when I was a player, I used to love the 4th and 1s, the 3rd and 1. I always liked to leap over people, and after a while, that got a little old when you'd meet the safeties about midway over the pile, and they'd hit you in midair and knock you about 5 yards back. I decided that Franco was much better at that than I was.
First and goal for the Rams. 10:33 to go first half, 21-0. Seattle has gone on top of Detroit 14-10 in the second quarter. And the Raiders are now tied by Miami 7-7 in the Cotton Bowl. San Francisco was a winner today. Dallas was a winner. The Giants defeated the Jets. Washington had already won on Thursday night. Pittsburgh a loser to Houston in overtime. Play fake. Wadlett chasing Kemp. Incomplete. Frank Wadlett did a nice job of shadowing Jeff Kemp that time, number 49.
Well, what they had that time, they came out with that misdirection where Kemp, number 9, turns to his left and makes the old play action fake, then sprints to the right. Number 49, Frank Wadlett, in the center of your screen there, folks. He had a safety blitz on. He was coming up from his weak side safety, and he said, whoa, Kemp, where you going? He went right by him. He turned around, went in pursuit, caught up with him, and forced him actually to throw that football out of the end zone. That was good recovery by him.
That brings up a 2nd down and goal from the 9. 10 minutes exactly to go in the first half. 21-0 Los Angeles lead. You heard it. No gain. Ricky Jackson made the sound. Ouch. It's something, Terry. I've not had a lot of chance to spend time on the sidelines of NFL games, but you don't really get the impact of the game up here, do you? I mean, the sound of the NFL is something.
You don't really get the impact, but I'll tell you what, you don't need noise or anything to describe this. I'll just shut up and watch this.
Miami 13, Los Angeles Raiders 7.
Bang! I tell you what, that is collision right there, brother.
3rd and goal. Ellard in motion to the left side. Kemp.
Russell Gary, 20. Boy, what a shot. That ball was just a little bit behind that time, but that was a good shot by the safety. Sometimes in the National Football League, even if you're only 6'1", weigh 200 pounds, you're going to have to stand your ground and take shots like that right there. And then with the pressure he got, forces him to throw the ball behind the receiver and gives 20 Russell Gary a chance to knock the receiver down. See, that stuff works that way. You get one guy knocking the quarterback down, you get another guy knocking the safety down, then you can go off the field and feel pretty proud of yourself.
Lansford has hit 11 of his last 12. He's 18 of 24 for the year. From the 15-yard line, a 25-yard field goal is good, and the Rams increase their lead. With 9 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the first half. It's beginning to have a semblance of a blowout. 24-0 Rams. 9:11 to go in the first half. A tough week, a tough season for 61-year-old Bum Phillips. Matter of fact, in light of John Meekum's remarks after the game last week that he was going to sell the club, a press conference was called on Tuesday, And we understand that many people showed up at the press conference from the New Orleans media expecting Bum Phillips to announce his retirement. And it did not happen, but there is that speculation. Tyrone Anthony will let it bounce and take the touchback out to the 20-yard line.
Well, you know, I just don't expect Bum Phillips that kind of person. A guy that I admire so much can't be a quitter, and I know he isn't. And they may have been disappointed among the media in New Orleans, but I guarantee you the fans that are smart and the players, by golly, they believe in this guy, and they don't want him to quit, retire, do anything. They want him to be their coach.
One of those traps, Terry, you can fall into with the expectations so high at the beginning of the year.
That's true. You get it built up and everybody thinks you're going to the Super Bowl, but I'm telling you, that was just a great year they had, and they're still building in the right direction. This team is not a football team that's not making the right progress.
Bum has made a change at quarterback, and Dave Wilson has replaced Richard Todd for the second time in as many weeks. Rogers gets the handoff and about 3 yards to the 23. Rogers having a non-productive day so far. His third carry for only 4 yards.
Well, there's young Dave Wilson. He's a guy that they got from Illinois. Picked him up in that little draft they had extra there and got him, and he hasn't really had an opportunity to play that much. And with the Saints struggling here in the game, being down 24-0, Bum said, give this guy a young shot. There's Richard. I know he's disappointed. It's a horrible feeling standing over there by yourself, but hey, that's just part of this game.
Todd, 1 of 5 at the time he left the game. Wilson drills it, caught near the 30-yard line. That's Jeff Groth with the catch.
Good job by Groth, 86. They had a blitz control. That means that the receiver and the quarterback have to be on the same page. The safety blitzed. Groth saw it, quarterback saw it. They broke the route off, came inside. He popped him the ball and got the good completion out of that.
One thing New Orleans, Terry, as you well know, is not blessed with is speed at the wide receiver spot.
Well, they're not, and they want their receivers to block. They do an outstanding job of blocking, but they are not blessed with the great speed that you need for an open offensive attack.
3rd and 1 for the Saints, trailing 24-0. Rogers will move the chains. He gets 3 yards at the 32 as Jim Collins makes the tackle.
It's been a rough year for this guy. A lot was expected of him coming in a trade from the New York Jets. He had and I have the utmost respect and admiration for his talents. I played against him several times when he was with the Jets, when they had a wide open attack and the offense was really diversified. It's extremely difficult for a young man to come to an attack that's very simple, run, and very uncomplicated in their passing routes. And he's had a hard time adjusting to that, and by the very instance that this man's out there taking his place right now.
1st and 10, New Orleans. Flag is down. Rogers spins for yardage, but he gets only 5, so if the penalty is against the Rams, I expect the Saints will take it. Tom Dooley, our referee. Looked like it was Doug Reed, number 93, a rookie from San Diego State, who came across the line of scrimmage. Brad Edelman was on the injured reserve, number 63 for a while, offside Rams, and the Saints will no doubt take it.
It's really a good test for this football team, these Saints right now. They're down 24-0, have a new quarterback.
Offside, defense, 1st down.
And quite honestly, not only are we covering this football game, but as a spectator, I'm interested in seeing the attitude and if there is any change in it with a new quarterback. The quarterbacks get all the glory and they get the blame. So let's see what happens. Let's see if really putting one guy in there can change the entire attitude of this entire offensive unit.
Rams almost have quadrupled the yardage of the New Orleans Saints in the first half. 1st down and 5. Rogers for no gain. Doug Reed, number 93, makes the tackle. Charles DeJournay, number 70 rather, is also checked in at nose guard. So up front, the Rams now have Reed, DeJournay, and Reggie Doss. Youngblood started his 201st consecutive game and then took himself out of the game with a bad back problem. George Rogers, 5 carries for 6 yards, and right beside him, Earl Campbell. And the controversy continues in New Orleans over the usage of those two men. Matter of fact, there was a headline in New Orleans this week that said they were going to try Campbell at fullback next summer. And Hokie Guyjon, who gets the carry here on 2nd down, was not pleased with that headline. There's a hunk of talent on the bench.
That's a hunk of dough, too. I mean, those two guys right there are probably making as much as you made in 2 years when you were working down there in Dallas.
Yeah,
You know, 46 guys, John. I asked him, I said, are you concerned about it? He said, yeah. He said, I was shocked and really upset when they made the trade for Campbell, because I said, well, gee, there goes my starting fullback spot. But now they're talking about using him in training camp next year, so I don't really know what's going to happen.
Pitch out Rogers with Gaijon in front. George turns the corner. He has enough to move the chains again as he gets it out to the 46-yard line. Jim Collins, number 50, and Johnny Johnson, number 20, made the tackle. There's Collins, leading tackler on the Rams, coming into his own now in his 4th year.
You know, in talking to Johnny Robinson, he told us, he said, you know, Collins always played the run extremely well. I mean, he was the guy that really would stick his nose in there. He was the guy that was making all the collisions. But when it came to covering people on the passing, he said, well, he lacked a little bit. But he said over the years going to the 3-4 now, he has really developed his coverage skills and become a fine all-around linebacker. He said he's our best linebacker.
5:10 to go in the first half of play. 24-0, Los Angeles. Wilson will throw it. 4-man rush, good blocking. Junior Miller drops it.
Well, maybe that's one of the reasons why they don't throw. You know, when you do a good job and you got your lineman, boy, you had Ward doing a good job. Edelman 63 and 72. All the linemen really did their job. Held the guys out. Gave the quarterback plenty of time that time. Wilson to throw the football. Good route by the tight end 84. Pass was there. Should have caught it. Dropped it.
That'll make it 2nd down and 10. Wilson now 1 out of 2 for 7 yards. Raiders have gone back on top of Miami. There was a missed extra point by Miami after they scored to take a 13-7 lead. May prove important as the game winds down. Reverse is faked. Gaijon coming left. Out of the tackle, down the sidelines to the 30-yard line. He's been the big play man for the Saints all year, and he comes through again. Probably the most valuable player on the Saints this year.
No, that's the way everybody feels about him. You know, Vern, this is a guy 46, and I guess he's one of these guys that doesn't get in. He's a Rodney Dangerfield. I don't get any respect, you know. He's the guy that's made the big plays for the Saints all year. Here he comes out, he fakes the reverse, does a good job that time of getting by Irvin on a nice little move. Good job downfield up by number 63, Brad Edelman, of making a key block. But the guy is really just doesn't get any respect, but he does the job week in and week out.
His given name is Howard Gaijon. He said he's been called Hokie ever since he could remember.
Wouldn't tell us why either.
No. Wilson on 1st down. Right flat.
Oh, fine catch.
Yes. Eugene Goodlow.
Fine catch. He threw it on the guy that probably has more respect for his talents than anyone at 27, Gary Green. Well, that is good coverage. That is good, just an outstanding pass.
Goodlow, another of those who was on injured reserve with a hamstring, so his season stats are kind of low. But he was out for 6 weeks, Terry.
He's one of those guys that came from Canada where they used to catch 100 passes in the first half of the season. Now he's got 15 down here.
24-0. First New Orleans threat of the ball game. Rogers inside the 15 to the 13. Jim Collins, number 50, made the tackle. Detroit has gone on top of Seattle 17-14, and Gary Danielson passed to James Jones. And, of course, the folks in Denver are praying for that to stay as is. And Marcus Allen gave the Raiders the lead at 10:08 to go in the first half on an 11-yard run. It's 14-13 in that game. Hokie Gaijon back in. Terry said, how'd you get your nickname? And he said, some things you don't talk about.
He really did. I said, well, I won't go into it. If it wouldn't make any difference, I'm not going to tell you.
Wilson lobs it up. Touchdown. Oh, Lindsey Scott, the first touchdown for Scott in the 3rd year of his professional career. That is #1 for the former #1 draft choice. It finally happened.
Well, maybe now things will happen. Sometimes it takes a while to get the good positive things on your side. There, Scott hasn't caught a TD. Now that's broken. Now that old dog's off his back, and now maybe things will start to happen for this young man because he was their #1 draft choice, and they expected a lot of him, Vern. They expected him to really explode in the National Football League.
Morton Anderson will try the extra point. What a relief that must be for Lindsey Scott to finally get the monkey off his back. 24-7.
Well, one of the things that I hated as a growing up in the National Football League was the bump and run. You see it turns inside, number 47, Leroy Irvin, turns him inside, beats him, then comes outside, and the pass is right there. Good job by Wilson that time of getting the ball off with the blitz in his face and laying it right there. Good job by Scott catching the ball.
With the change of quarterbacks as Dave Wilson replaced Richard Todd, the Saints go 80 yards in 11 plays. Lindsey Scott with his first NFL touchdown, 14 yards from Wilson, narrows the margin to 24-7 with 3:21 to go in the first half. Morton Anderson will kick it off. Barry Redden and Drew Hill are deep. Redden, a yard into the end zone, will drop to one knee. He's close to that plane, wasn't he? Very close. Coming up next Saturday, CBS Sports presents NCAA basketball. The Nevada Las Vegas Running Rebels against the Georgetown Hoyas. Live 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Georgetown with Patrick Ewing off to another quick start. And on the 15th of December, what a great game this ought to be. DePaul, they demolished UCLA last night or yesterday afternoon. Ranked number 2 in the country, and they visit Georgetown. You'll see that game on the 15th of December live at 3:45 Eastern Time. Then on the 22nd, we continue with NCAA basketball. The UCLA Bruins against St. John's and Chris Mullin at 1 o'clock on CBS Sports, your home of the NCAA championship again this year. First down and 10. 2 wide receivers to the left side. The pitch out goes to Eric Dickerson for 1 yard. Jim Wilkes made the tackle. They have avoided the presence of number 57, Ricky Jackson, as much as possible.
John Robertson said, you know, the players, when they talk about the teams in the papers, he said, you believe them, they don't lie. Yesterday he told us, he said, we're going to run to the left. Quite honestly, we got a lot of respect for 57 Jackson. We're going to run to the left. And I'd say today that they've done a good job of running to the left.
Timeout has been called. Perhaps because he does not play in the media center of the United States, New York City, Ricky Jackson is somewhat unheralded. He's only, in the last 3 years, a sack and a half behind Lawrence Taylor and has more tackles.
Well, you would think that, well, yeah, you said the media center, but Hugh Green is in Tampa, and there he is over. Then you could say, well, you got to be on a winning football team, but that's not true because Hugh Green isn't either. He's a guy that's a sack and a half behind. Is probably every bit as good or better than those guys.
Second down and 9, Los Angeles. 24-7. They lead. 3:01 to go, first half. Kemp will throw it again on the half roll. No, he'll pull it up. Let it go. Caught. How about that? Ron Brown makes the catch, the rookie from Arizona State, the Olympic gold medalist in the 400-meter relay.
You can see this again. We've talked about it, and I guess we'll have to continue. He gets Kemp sets up. Looks like it's designated, and it is because you can see the guard Hara pull out the block. Designated pocket outside. He gets outside, looks downfield, holds up, then recoils and hits Ron Brown right there. Almost got a first down.
You know, watching Jeff Kemp operate with this movable pocket and watching Montana and Theismann, guys who roll. You used to roll out. What do you think of Doug Flutie's chances in the NFL?
Oh, I think Doug Flutie, I wouldn't hesitate one bit if I was a head coach and I was making the final decision on drafting and had a need at quarterback. I would not hesitate to make Doug Flutie my #1 quarterback. I think he's a kid that proved that he can win. He's charismatic. He makes things happen. People seem to rally around him. He's, I think, a truly outstanding player and certainly qualified to be a #1 draft choice in the National Football League.
Do you believe, Terry, as some say, that if he goes to a team with an offense like that, or a more conservative or conventional offense, they'll have to rebuild the offense around him?
They would need an offense that is based on a U-back or an H-back offense where they have a lot of people in motion, a single back where they can move him outside into the pocket, get him outside, utilize athletic skills. If you have 2 backs back there, then you have a lot of play action. He'd have to sit back in there, and quite honestly, I think he would have some trouble, but not a great deal of trouble of throwing from the pocket. He is a pocket passer. I think an H-back system would be the ideal situation for him.
Well, he's a deserving candidate for the Heisman, and he won it. Coming up at halftime, Scores and Allies with Brent Nerve. Barry Redden, Eric Dickerson to the split backs on 3rd down and 1. David Hill in motion. Dickerson for the first down at the 31-yard line. That is his 15th carry of the first half. And he's got 15 carries for 74 yards. He exploded in the final quarter against Tampa Bay last week for 124 yards.
That's not bad, is it?
Per quarter.
That's amazing. Well, this guy is, you know, he himself is a pass. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, 4 or 5 plays, but then he's 80 yards, and then he turns around, he's 80 yards again. I mean, the guy is an unbelievable running back. That's all you can say about it.
I asked him yesterday if he'd ever gotten tired in the game. He said never, going all the way back to his sophomore year at Sealy High School. Sealy, just outside of Houston. Kemp looking deep, going deep. Man is open at the midfield mark. Frank Watland makes the tackle on Ron Brown. And as Terry said at the top of the show, pay too much attention to Dickerson. Watch out for the sprinters on the flank.
Well, they're bringing their safeties up tight to stop that. They come out that time, and boy, they get Brown with that speed. Man, it's fun. You get a guy driving them off and coming back, pitch and catch.
I won't say they're disinterested spectators, but they're not exactly brimming over with enthusiasm right now, the guys in the sidelines. Jimmy Rogers, Richard Todd, and Earl Campbell.
Well, in all my years of playing, one thing we could not dare do, was sit on our helmets during a game.
That's a fine, isn't it?
Well, he may not get fined, but you get a pretty good tongue lashing come Monday morning.
Yeah. Don't see it a lot. Here's the first half, 5 of 12. He has already surpassed the number of throws made last week. Draw play, Dickerson. Ricky Jackson. No, it's Bruce Clark, number 75.
Bruce Clark did a good job that time of getting up really off the ground and making a tackle. Looked like Dickerson was going to get outside and make a lot of yardage that time, but Clark, boy, with a lot of hustle, got up and made the tackle. Now they're in the quick offense. You'll see it again, a little quick draw there.
1:37 to go in the half, and the clock running. Flip out to Eric Dickerson, breaks the tackle. And Kovach finally gets him at the 37-yard line, but that'll move the sticks for a first down.
Well, guess whose tackle he broke? He broke Ricky Jackson's tackle. You know, and then he, with that great power we've been talking about, got back inside. Boy, made a first down on that.
1:12 to go in the half. Whoops. Mix-up on the play as George Farmer was the intended receiver on what Kemp thought was going to be a quick screen, but Farmer had headed downfield.
Well, that's one of those things. If you have a quick screen, the guy's pressing him like that, it's a dead issue. There's no way you complete it, make any yardage. He just threw it away, and that was smart of him. Clock start. Now we're going to regroup, call ourselves 2 more plays here. Hopefully we can get that ball down there and get the field goal. Right now we're shooting for a field goal. We at least want to get 3 points out of this.
And,
excuse me.
Go ahead, Terry.
Go ahead, Vern.
Oh, you first. Second down and 10. That's all I was going to say. And I know whatever you had to add was more insightful than that.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Second and 10. Incomplete. Behind the intended receiver, James McDonald, the tight end, number 83.
One of the things that Jeff's going to have to learn as quarterback, and he will in time as he plays more, is when you have those guys open, you have linebackers underneath or inside, you got to put that football up a little bit. You got to take a little of that steam or that smoke off of it. Coach Robinson, John Robinson said, you know, this guy's got a strong arm. He really doesn't take a lot off of it. Look at that. That ball's flying in there. And all he had to do was just lay it up a little bit, make it nice, easy catch that time for James McDonald.
Robinson had a great way of describing the arm. He said Jeff Kemp has a 2-iron. He doesn't have a 7-iron in his bag. Every shot is a 2-iron. Under pressure, catches man. Barry Rick out of bounds for the first down at the 23-yard line.
Well, I tell you, number 9 did an outstanding job that time of standing his ground. These people know he's going to drop back there. He's going to throw the football, and they're going to try to get a shot on this young fella. As you can see, he stopped. They got the Games Jackson outside. He steps up in the pocket, then right there, boy, they unload on him, and he gets that football out and really does an outstanding job of leading Redding out, who does a good job of catching the football and getting that first down and stop the clock.
Marvelous job once again by the offensive line of the Rams. Doug Smith at center, Kent Hill and Dennis Harrow the guards, and Bill Bain and Irv Pankey the tackles. Kemp has not been sacked yet today. Again with time. Good defensive work. He lobs it out, caught by his tight end, Mike Barber. And Barber is down to the 14-yard line, and timeout is called by Jeff Kemp as Ricky Jackson makes the tackle.
Boy, I tell you, the right side of their offensive line that time, Harrah, number 60 at right guard, and Bain, 62 at tackle. 81 also, you can see that David Hill, look at the job that Bain does. Boy, he just sticks him in there and driving him, pushing him back. Look at this. Get out of the way. Don't hit my guy. Boy, that's a great job that time.
Timeout. At the end of the last catch by Mike Barber, there was a fumble that apparently we missed.
Well, we were over here talking about Bill Bain and what a great job he did. Now Mike gets the football, and he's hitting the ground, and they say that the ground can't cause a fumble. Now let's see what happens. There's the football right there, and number 57, Ricky Jackson, picks it up. Now they say the ground can't cause a fumble, so actually what that should be, that ball should be ruled dead right there, and these Rams ought to be going in for at least another touchdown or a field goal.
Well, the crowd has just realized what happened about the same time we did, as all of a sudden the Saints have the ball with 46 seconds to go. But if the ground cannot cause a fumble, that should not have been a fumble. Quick pitch, Junior Miller to the 23-yard line. Jim Collins, number 50, made the tackle. Saints will hurry without a huddle as the clock winds down. 28 seconds to go.
Second quarter score, Seattle 21, Detroit 17.
Wilson back.
He's got him if he'll get it.
Whoop, off balance throw, incomplete.
He had Tyrone Young. Tyrone Young was he was a good 5 yards deep. That time he had Gary Green, 27. Beat had him underneath, and David actually was on the rollout, but heck, if he could have stopped and fired that football out there, that was a touchdown. Sometimes corners can get lulled to sleep. Now David's looking to his left. Boy, he freezes. Look at the safeties. They all go where his eyes are. Now he gets out of the pocket, but he can't get the ball out of his hands to throw deep enough. He underthrows it, almost intercepted. Tyrone Young comes back, tried to prevent the interception, but number 22 that time, Vince Newman, a strong safety, Newsom, he went ahead and dropped it for him. That's hard to do, though. Get out on the run, try to throw that ball 60 yards in the air. Awfully hard to do, you bet.
3rd and 3 with 12 seconds to go in the first half. I'd say that was conservative.
Well, we got 4 seconds, 3 counting down.
Guys on the ball carrier.
You know, that's what they wanted to do. They want to get out of here and not have a turnover or anything. That's what you got.
Gun sounds. And the Rams, after piling up a 24-0 lead, hold on to a 24-7 lead at halftime. It all began with Leroy Irvin's pass interception, which he returned 51 yards for a touchdown. And then the onslaught began as Jeff Kemp and Eric Dickerson and the Los Angeles Rams extended their lead to 24-0 before Dave Wilson replaced Richard Dodd at quarterback midway through the second quarter and led the Saints to an 80-yard drive, and the touchdown catch to Lindsey Scott. That made it 24-7. The Rams are going for what appeared to be a field goal at the end of the first half, and all of a sudden there was a fumble, and that's the way we ended halftime. That's the end of the first half with our score: the Los Angeles Rams 24 and the New Orleans Saints 7. Los Angeles trying to go 9-5 and stay in the thick of that wild card chase. New Orleans hoping they can get back together and get back in this ball game. And their defensive unit will take the lineup at the 20-yard line as Barry Redden downs it. At the end of the first half, the Rams with 12 first downs, and they have almost doubled the total of offensive yardage, 207 to 104. On the ground, 121 for Los Angeles. Interesting there that New Orleans 5 times this year has given up more than 200 yards rushing. Each of those 5 times they have been defeated. They have had possession of the football for just a little bit more than Los Angeles, but the turnovers have cost them. Eric Dickerson for the first half with 81 yards, 1 touchdown. His longest gain was 16 yards. And he has moved into the number 3 position of all-time Ram rushers already here in his second year. He'll get the handoff to begin the second half. And skirts over left tackle for a gain of 6. Lawrence McCutcheon is the all-time leading Ram ground gainer with 6,186 yards. Dickie Bass with 5,417 yards. Dickerson now has moved beyond Deacon Dan Towler with 3,521 yards in his year and a little more than a half, almost 2 years of rushing.
I had a good talk with Dick Bass prior to the game. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
It's been a long time since he's played. Back in the 60s. Second down 4, Los Angeles. Dickerson again. Not quite enough for the first down. It'll be just about a half-foot short as Ricky Jackson and Jim Kovach make the tackle.
Well, you know the thing they're going to do, they're going to run that football. The Saints knew it coming in here. They've come in, they've run, established the football well. They've thrown a touchdown pass, made some good things happen. They come out now, and they've run the football 2 times in a row, and they've went right over their guards and centers. And that time, Hara, number 60 in the center, Doug Smith, 56, double-teamed on Tony Elliott, number 99, the nose tackle, blew him by and then cut back in behind and made a good gain out of it.
3rd and just about a foot, maybe less. Barry Redden in the backfield with Dickerson. Lines up to the left side. Quarterback keeper, send your strongest runner. And they did.
Well, you don't want to send him too often now. You don't want to give away your secret play, you know. That's the one you save.
And he almost got what you were talking about, that safety meeting him up in midair. But Kemp picks up the first down. I marvel at the game that Bill Bain is playing against Bruce Clark, because Clark is a guy that really has had a terrific season, Terry.
Clark is a guy that, actually is a Pro Bowl quality player. He probably in all likelihood could make the Pro Bowl this year on a football team that is struggling to finish at 500.
Happiest man in the world when John Robinson got the job here replacing Ray Malavasi was Bill Bain, because Malavasi used to make Bain weigh in every Friday, and it cost him $25 a pound for every pound he was overweight. Dickerson to about the 33.
Well, you know, you talk about a guy, and the people probably say, why are you talking so much about Bill Bain? Well, there are blocks, and then there are blocks. Now, folks, this is one of those there are blocks. Watch, 62 comes off, gets up inside of number 75 that time, Clark, and just pushes him in the ground and steps on it, and then turns around to admire his prey. I see you. And I'll tell you, number 75 is quite a man. Bruce Clark. We've been around him a lot, and I've seen him with his shirt off, and I tell you, he's a Hercules.
Second down, 7. Timeout. Something about the alignment that Jeff Kemp didn't like. 12:01 to go in 3rd quarter. Time has been called, and the 24-7 Ram lead. For years in Southern California, John Robertson was a popular character here in Southern California, a popular figure. He has become, if possible, even more well-liked in his role with the Rams now in his 2nd year. 24-7, 2nd down, 7. Dickerson alone, set back, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Dickerson. Frank Warren, number 73, up around the shoulders to help make the tackle.
I was talking to Jack Youngblood yesterday, and, and the conversation eventually led to Robinson. I said, what kind of guy is he? Are you like playing for him? And he said, I love him. Terry, I love the guy. He said, man, he's one of the nicest guys. He said he encourages players. He says, calls you over and he says, hey, I believe in you. I believe you got a lot of talent. You can play better now. Let's get out there and play. He said he's a real encourager. What you call one of those, players, one of those coaches. Player coach. Say it for me. Anyway, they like the guy. Let's say that.
That's the essential part of it. 3rd and 3. Stunts by the New Orleans defensive line. Kemp goes deep, has a man open. First down at the 43 as Barry Redden makes the catch. Bobby Johnson, number 34, and Ricky Jackson collaborate on the tackle. Well, there's a player's coach, too, Bum Phillips, but it's been a tough year for Bum and a tough day. Seattle leading Detroit 21-17 in the 3rd quarter of that important battle for the Seahawks. Los Angeles, we are told, just stopped Miami on the 1-foot line, and they retained their lead over Miami 17-13 at halftime. It'll be 1st down and 10. Dickerson with 97 yards, 3 more, and he's got his 11th 100-yard rushing game of the season. Reverse. Ron Brown, who once he gets the ball knows what to do with it, head downfield. Gold medalist from the 1984 Olympic 400-meter sprint relay team.
This is one of the what Kemp turns around and tosses back, comes back and makes a key block for Brown. Look at the block right there. He does a super job of making the block on Jackson. Brown gets out front. Dennis Hara tries to block Dave Williams, do a very good job, and Brown runs right up his back. One of the things Robinson said about this guy was, if anything, I want him to develop as a football player. It's not how many great plays he makes for me. I want to see the development as a football player and as a receiver.
Dickerson on 2nd and short. Oh, boy, what a pop.
Well, Tony Elliott, 99, he's been saying cutback runs all this year. They cutting in, cutting back. Dickerson's piled up about 80 yards already. He says, now it's my time to get even.
As you can see, he lunges out in front of the center. Doug Smith sits there right in the hole. Boy, he just whop right inside. 29. Look at that.
How'd he go?
Whop right down inside. Oh, man. I'm afraid I'd have just had to avoid that little collision.
That hurts to hear you say it.
Dang. Oh,
Eric Dickerson, though, has he displayed resilience in his career. He's not been hurt much. It's funny, I had the rare pleasure of watching him for all 4 years at SMU, and also saw him in his high school championship game, Terry.
Sealy, Texas.
Sealy, Texas, and I was talking to him yesterday. I said, now tell me again
He
who
played with
beat.
old Butch Colby down there.
Yes, indeed, and Willie Colby was also part of the team.
The brothers, Colby brothers.
They beat Wiley 42-20.
Wiley.
Dickerson got 311 yards.
Wiley, Texas. I spoke down for a group of folks down in Sealy, big town Sealy, Texas.
Again.
There's that power back. Boy, I like to see that. That's getting to look good now.
Great blocking by Bain, Harris, Smith, Kent Hill, Irv Pankey, and Russ Bollinger. They just moved the St. line back.
You know, Dickerson he's a legend in Sealy, Texas. And when I went down there to speak, that's all they talked about. Dickerson. Boy, y'all see this guy, that's Dickerson. Man, he's from here. They had signs up, home of Eric Dickerson. And I mean, it was unbelievable how much they loved that guy down there. Well, small town.
He still makes his off-season home there and in California. He bought a home for his mother, Viola. Said it was a lot cheaper than the real estate in California. Kemp. Henry Ellard. Good defensive play by Dave Waymer with help from Frank Wadley.
One of the things look at Dave Dempsey, one of the things these cornerbacks have, they may get beaten on a play. You might beat them, but the real key to a great defensive back is that closing speed, that burst for the football to knock away that ball. And that time, Waymer, 44, comes in from his left corner spot and knocks that football away. Watley, number 49, the free safety, also good job of closing in on that football, preventing him from making a big play. He was to be the heir apparent to my job there. He was the guy that they said was going to be a great quarterback. They brought him in there. He ran a 4.440, believe it or not.
Know what he told me yesterday?
No telling what he told you.
Well, among other things, he said one thing he couldn't compete with. He had more hair than you did.
Oh, man. Everybody has more hair than me, but not as much fun.
That's true.
Second and 15.
Louisiana Tech won yesterday over at Alcorn State.
Hey, how about those Bulldogs? A.L. Williams, F.J. Taylor, all my buddies down there.
Second and 15. Dickerson to the 46-yard line as Tony Elliott makes the tackle again. And unofficially, we've now got Eric Dickerson with 101 yards. Yep, 101, and that's his 11th time this year and the 20th time already in his career that he's rushed for 100 yards or plus.
You know, the thing that's amazing about him, and when you see greatness, the people that are making the great things happen make it look so easy, so effortlessly. And he's done that there 100 yards. It just looks like the guy's just been going through a casual day of practice.
3rd and 11.
That effortlessly, that part.
Kemp got nailed. He let it go. Legal catch. Whitney Paul with the ball. Now they're going to whistle it back.
Now they're calling it off. They're saying no completion. Didn't have control of it. Now the Saints are going to come out here and they're going to argue with this, but this is a good call. He did not have control of that football.
One official close to the ball did not signal incomplete catch, and that's when Whitney Paul picked it up and ran with it. So John Visco comes on to punt after the incomplete pass. He's had an inactive afternoon. Jitter Fields is back at the 11-yard line. Saints have 10 men up on the line, now 9. Now 8.
Trying to mess up their count call. See Gooman turn around trying to mess up their count.
Snap back from Visco, no rush. Fields with a fair catch will let it bounce. Takes a ram roll to the 11-yard line. So the New Orleans offense with Dave Wilson at quarterback is back on the... Hobie Brenner in motion. He's not trying to pass today. Rogers trying to get outside and does. Then is waylaid by Leroy Irvin, Jim Collins, and Vince Newsom. Watch the play here, Terry, of Mike Wilshire, number 54.
Mike Wilshire's a young guy. He's a first-year guy. He's a rookie. He's the guy that's filling in right now. And talking to Robinson, he does a good job. You know, he doesn't excel at the run, at playing the run. Doesn't excel at covering the pass. Just a good linebacker. But right now he's learning. He's learning his trade. He's learning against an outstanding offensive line.
He's the guy that took Lawrence Taylor's place at North Carolina when Taylor was drafted. Wilson, incomplete at the 29. Intended for Lindsey Scott. And Gary Green was defending on the play. Well, the tightest race in the NFL is that NFC East race. Washington, of course, defeated Minnesota 31-17 the other night. The Giants today defeated the Jets to go 9-5, and the Cowboys over Philadelphia 26-10. St. Louis also a winner on the road today in New England. The result of which is that the race remains as tight as it was. Three-way tie at 9-5. St. Louis only a game back with 2 games remaining. And the Cowboys meet the Redskins next week, while the Giants beat St. Louis. You'll see both games on CBS. Wilson. Scott, first down at the 35.
Oh, that's a great job of the offensive line that time of Court and those guys trying to hold out. He picked up the games that time. Hill and Court and Adelman setting back in there. They had the game zone with a nose tackle in the end. Jeter in there. They picked him up. Wilson stood his ground and hit Lindsey Scott over the middle. That's a good play that time.
Scott with 2 catches today for 35 yards, including his first touchdown as a pro. 6:05 to go third quarter, 24-7. Los Angeles leads. Scott goes wide right. Gross comes wide left. Wilson for Scott again to the 39-yard line.
I tell you, when you're watching Scott now, he's caught a couple of passes, caught that big touchdown pass, and you got Wilson now. He's completed a couple of passes, and things that you're going to see happen here, Vern, is the fact that the confidence is going to rise. These guys are going to say, hey, man, I can catch a football. Wilson says, I see you can catch it. Boy, they're going to throw that football, and these guys are going to block harder. And I guarantee you that one catch that he made in the end zone for a touchdown has changed this young man's career. Lindsey Scott, number 80 right there.
Second down at 5 after the pickup of 5 in the last play. Rogers the lone setback again. Rogers in the draw play. Got a little room. Squirts through that opening near the 45. Carl Ecker, number 55, made the tackle with help from Jim Collins.
Well, that's good second effort that time by Rogers, number 38. He was tackled actually, Vern, about 3 or 4 yards short, but just kept lunging, kept pulling, kept dragging guys, and finally got that baby down there and got the first down.
Been a tough year for George Rogers. 9 carries for 22 yards. He opened the season some 13 weeks ago against Atlanta with 102 yards, and he has not been above 100 since then. Larry Hardy comes in as an extra tight end now for the Saints on 1st and 10 from the 45. Wilson replaced Richard Todd midway through the second quarter and led New Orleans on an 80-yard drive for its only score. Right side, intercepted. Picked off by Gary Green, number 27. One man to beat. And Brad Edelman saves the touchdown.
We're going to watch it again. You're going to see Dave Wilson, number 18, as he gets back. The thing that you work on as a quarterback is timing. Now, he throws this football early before Lindsey makes his break and throws the football behind Lindsey Scott, number 80. Now you see Gary Green, 27. He picks the football off, plays it high in the air, makes a good block. Now he's turned into an offensive back. Good blocks downfield, cuts inside, does a good job of running with the football. Brad Edelman, 6'3", comes over and saves the day. You know, one of the things about throwing an interception, and you make a great effort to get downfield here, Vern, to make the tackle. boy, you're busting your tail. You got guys coming. You got 22 Vince Newsom coming there trying to make a block on you. And then you get a chance to get Gary Green. You tackle your own guy. Wait a minute. I got the wrong guy. Wait a minute. Come back here.
Jeff Groth couldn't believe it.
Do you believe that? Tackle the wrong? I don't blame him. At least he tried to tackle. I wouldn't even made an attempt to tackle a guy.
60-yard return by Gary Green on his third pass interception of 1984. And the Rams have the ball at the Saint 21-yard line. Make it 22. Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson.
About the 18-yard line. Watch the blocking on the left side of Irv Pankey and Kent Hill.
We know Pankey went out last year. Number 75, the left tackle. Kent Hill said number 72, the left guard. Pankey went out last year with an Achilles heel tendon, and then that gave Bill Bain, an opportunity to play, and he played well. Well, when he came back this year, Pankey that is, well, Bain had already earned a starting job, and Bain said, gee, I'm glad to have Pankey back. Pankey's back in there again. This guy's an all-pro, number 75.
Second down and 4. Dickerson going left again. Ducks under the potential head-wrecking tackle of Ricky Jackson. And Bruce Clark finally makes the stop, number 75. Dickerson inside the 15-yard line.
You know, the left side of that line with Pankey and Hill, you know, those are all pros. Those guys, that's a pro both side offensive line. You move on the other side, you got Hare and Bain, and Bain makes pro. That's an all-pro side over there with Doug Smith at the center. The long guy kind of hanging out there.
Talked to Hokie Gajan yesterday about Eric Dickerson. He said Eric Dickerson is the kind of back all of us would love to be. If you could make a perfect back, it would be Eric Dickerson. Dickerson with 108 yards so far in the game. Third and short. Dickerson going left again. Close.
Well, a good job that side by Winston, Paul, Wilkes. All those guys caved in that right side of that all-pro line we were just talking about. Looks like they either held them short or they made it, but it looks like it's going to be a little short. But they did a good job, good serve.
Whitney Paul, number 51.
Look at 75 getting up over there. Good job by Clark coming across, trying to get in on the tackle.
Hey, Bruce Clark will ache on the plane going home tonight. So will Whitney Paul. They've had a lot of contact. It'll be fourth down, and the field goal unit will come on. Mike Lansford, 1 of 1 today, has hit 12 of his last 13.
Field goal formation. Field goal hold. Lansford will
I'll tell you again, if you joined us late, that he was bothered by a virus all week long. And there was some concern as to whether he could play this week, but he's done all the kickoff chores, and this will be a second field goal attempt. Out of Steve Dill's hold, kick is good. So the lead has been increased after the 60-yard interception by Gary Green. It's now 27-7. Mike Lansford, who is 2 of 2 from field goal position, getting ready to kick off. Jitter Fields and Tyrone Anthony back at the goal line for the New Orleans Saints. 27-7 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. It was 24-0 at one point, 24-7 at the half.
Jitter Fields and Tyrone Anthony.
Kick taken by Jitter Fields. And he gets it only as far as the 20-yard line. 5th round draft choice from the University of Texas. Coming up next Sunday, the NFL Today will feature a profile of Tom Landry, who has now announced that he'll be back for at least 2 more years as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Check your local listing for the time of that day, and then we've got a doubleheader next week, and what a great matchup it'll be. First game will feature the Giants against the St. Louis Cardinals at 12:30 Eastern Time. Both teams very much in the thick of the NFC East, and then the Washington Redskins and Cowboys from Texas Stadium in Irving. NFL doubleheader next weekend on CBS Sports. 1st and 10, and Wilson will throw. Hobie Brenner with the catch on the screen for about 5 yards. Jim Collins made the tackle, number 50. That is Brenner's first catch. He's had kind of an erratic year, a couple of games with multiple catches. But
well, he's, you know, the kind of year he's had is catch 5 or 6 and 100 yards and a couple of TDs, or he won't catch any. Last year, you know, he'd catch 1 or 2 every game. It was kind of a consistent, even kill season. This year, he's either been, you know, just outstanding, or you didn't hear from him.
Brenner playing back at home, graduated from Southern Cal, second down and 6. Tyrone Anthony is the running back now. We have yet to see Earl Campbell in the game. Almost caught, little bit behind Eugene Goodlow. Would have been a tough catch.
I'll tell you, that was a good play that time by Leroy Urban. You know, he's an interesting young man. He says when the situations are really critical, Vernon, he says, I know they're not going to throw on 27 Gary Green. He's an all-pro. They're going to pick on me. And he says, I like that. I liken myself to Lester Hayes. I want to be the guy to make the big plays. I have dreams of making big plays. He almost made a big play there. Well, he did make a big play. Prevented the completion.
Had a big play to start the game with a 51-yard pass interception return for a touchdown. Third down, 6. New Orleans is 4 out of 4 on third down conversion since Wilson came on. Now they're 4 out of 5. Intended for Junior Miller, but behind him, it'll be fourth down.
Well, you can credit that incompletion to Carl Eckern, their left inside middle linebacker, number 55, who did a good job that time of firing up the middle of the line and putting pressure on Wilson that time.
There's a confused and somewhat disheartened Earl Campbell. Traded for a #1 draft pick and thought he would play. Said last week, I have never sat on the bench since I was in junior high school, and it's a little tough to adjust to. Henry Ellard back to return Brian Hansen's punt. Ellard waits for the 29-yard line. Nice high kick, but Ellard will have a chance to return it. Whoa! Flag is also down. Back at the 42-yard line. So we'll check that. Tom Dooley will see what the infraction is. That was a 46-yard punt. Penalty against the Rams. 3 on the return with a hang time of 4.3. Ultimately, they will walk this off to the north. But it may take a while.
Well, listen. That's Wade Phillips on the right.
Personal foul, post-possession foul, half the distance to the goal, first down against number 28 of the receivers.
You know, that must be hard. We saw Wade Phillips standing to the right of his father, Bum Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Defense has had a hard day today. The offense has had a hard day, but Wade Phillips is a defensive coordinator. I wonder what father and son talk about during a game like this.
How to get it turned around, I think.
I reckon.
Timeout has been called. The Rams get the ball back. They have it inside their own 15-yard line, but they lead it 27-7. Bum Phillips trying to solve the puzzle of the afternoon as his team trails 27-7 with less than a minute to go, and there is his son, Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator, standing on the left of your screen. First down and 10, Los Angeles. They have the ball at their own 14-yard line. On the ground for the season, the Rams have been averaging 167 yards per game. They have 162 closing in at the end of the third quarter here this afternoon. And it's come, Terry, kind of quietly. Longest gain by Jeff Kemp of 17 yards.
Well, it has. It's like I said earlier, things just kind of even, you know, move along kind of evenly. Then bam, boy, they got that thing in the end zone. Then they get a break. You know, they get an interception, and they're back down there again. They get a field goal out of it. So it's just been kind of that. Hasn't been one of these 90 yards or 95-yard jobs. Just kind of quietly, steady, going about doing their jobs.
Eric Dickerson, 25 carries for 110 yards. He is the lone setback now on 1st and 10. Fumble. Saints have it. And Terry Hogue, who some think was robbed of a fumble recovery for a touchdown last week, comes up with it. He's the rookie from Georgia. And the Saints have gotten the turnover.
But once again, they give it to Dickerson, who has been known to fumble the football. He has been known to cough it up. Good shot right there. You can see the ball laying right down between Ricky Jackson's feet, number 57. Hogue 24 slips up in there and grabs the football. Saints ball. You know, they can get this thing on the scoreboard. It's 27-14.
They almost have to score here, but if they do, we've got a ball game. Guy John and Tyrone Anthony in the backfield. Wilson to throw. Going deep in the end zone. Might have been a mix-up. Intended for Tyrone Young.
Well, you can look at that in several ways. As you saw then, young Dave Wilson point one way. He could have been pointing to the receiver this or that. But if he runs the wrong route, don't reward him by throwing him the football. You know, turn your head around and go to the other side and try to pick up a second or third receiver. If that guy runs the wrong route, then go ahead and pick up somebody else. You got other people out there running routes for you to help get that thing in there.
Tyrone Anthony starts out and then comes back in. Dave Wilson, since replacing Todd midway through the second quarter, now 7 of 14 for 72 yards. He has not been sacked, and Todd was sacked 4 times in the first quarter and a half. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 20. Reverse. Anthony goes by the attempted tackle of Leroy Irvin. He gets it only to the 17-yard line.
You know, these reverses are used, like, once again, to when you have people that are really chasing. If you got the left side, see Wilter, number 54. If these guys are really pursuing to the right, then you run those reverses and catch them off guard, and then the guy goes back around. Well, that's what they thought that the Rams were going to do that time. They came out with a little play action, a little reverse, trying to catch them in the flow. Bam, good little gain, got them 4 yards out of it.
Looks like the Rams and the Saints will allow the quarter to expire without another play. That's the end of the third quarter with our score 27-7. Los Angeles, they now pause for a word from your local station. Back for the final quarter from Anaheim Stadium. Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw. New Orleans facing a 3rd down and 7, and they trail by 20 points. Gajan, the lone setback. Tyrone Young wide right. Blitz coming against Wilson. Reads it, picks it up, goes for Brenner. Diving catch, 1st and goal.
I tell you, this is a good job. This is Hobie Brenner. He's coming down here. This is hometown for Hobie out of USC. Good job. He comes off. They have the blitz on. He knows it. When he left the line of scrimmage, he knew it was man for man. It's blitz. You can see him. He's got 1 step that time. There's a pass. A good job by Wilson getting in there. And a good job that time on Sully, guy that was covered. And good job of getting that ball in there and catching it. Big play.
2nd catch of the afternoon for Hobie Brenner for 18 yards. 1st and goal just inside the 4. As we get underway with the 4th quarter, 27-7 the score. George Rogers back in the lineup, and timeout has been called by the Rams. So Los Angeles uses 1 of its allotted 3. Wilson goes over to talk with Bum Phillips and John Levra on the sideline. And see if they can't get into the end zone. Of course, we're winding down with the National Football League season in 1984, heading toward the playoffs, and NCAA basketball has begun. Next Saturday, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels go east to meet the top-ranked Georgetown Hoyas. That's live at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS. Patrick Ewing and that entire bunch of John Thompson picked number 1 in the preseason polls, and with all of that talent returning, not much doubt that they're going to be tough to defeat, particularly at home. But Jerry Tarkanian and his group will bring the Runnin' Rebels east, and you'll see the game next Saturday live 1 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS. Bum Phillips pulled Richard Todd in the second quarter after Todd had gone 1 for 5, 2 interceptions and 4 sacks. Kind of a game that was reminiscent for Richard, the one he had the first game in San Francisco, when he was 2 for 5 with 3 interceptions. So the West Coast has not been kind to Todd this year. 1st and goal.
89 is wide open. Nobody is known Tyrone. Look at that. Nobody covered him.
There wasn't a soul there.
They called timeout, the Rams did, and evidently it looks like
a hidden man play.
Just totally lost sight of number 89, Tyrone Young, who stands 6'6". How can you lose sight? Look at John. He said, how in the world did we leave that guy uncovered?
There was not anybody out there.
Tyrone Young was standing on the left, folks, and he was waving his hands. Look at him standing out. No one around him. Not a soul around him. How in the world can you not cover a wide receiver? And that's just a mental breakdown. That is an absolute mental breakdown. Unbelievable.
I'm wondering if somehow he didn't rejoin the huddle. It sort of like the old hidden man play. Morton Anderson, with the extra point, has cut the margin to 10 at 24-14.
Can't be a hidden man play because someone has a responsibility. If the corner's in there, it says, where's my man? Look at this. There's no one there. There's no corner in this football game. Man had to be out of the game. I guarantee you now, I can come back and play with guys open like that. folks, what you're going to see is you count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9's going to be rushing with a wide receiver on the right. There's 10. There's no right cornerback for these Los Angeles Rams. Wilson sees it. Tyrone Young is out there screaming, waving his hands. There's no way in the world. You know what the Rams should have done? They should have turned around and called timeout right now. And when they saw him waving his hands, but they didn't do that, and Wilson threw him the touchdown. Unbelievable.
That's the darndest thing I've
I've
seen.
never seen anything like that in my life.
Morton Anderson kicks it off. And let me correct myself. I gave a score of 24-14. It is 27-14, of course. And Barry Redden will take the touchback, and the Rams will have it at the 20-yard line. Coming up tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by a really special show. Ken and Dolly, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, A Christmas to Remember, and that will be followed by Circus of the Stars tonight on CBS.
Parton?
Partman.
That's...
I don't know. I don't know. I've got no explanation. If you can explain to me where the right quarterback was, I'll try and tell you how I read that promo.
I won't even attempt it, Parton.
1st and 10. Henry Ellard. Wade Crutchfield gets the handoff. 27-14 our score. Now let's go to Brent Musburger in New York for an NFL update.
Bert, I tell you, Seattle's Dave Craig has been throwing against 11 men all day and still getting the job done. Here's his 4th touchdown pass against the Lions. 28 TD passes on the year. The only man who's thrown more is Dan Marino. Back to Vern and Terry.
Thank you, Brett. Isn't that an amazing year for Craig?
It is amazing. Here's a guy that just came out of a little small school up there around the Great Lakes area, Minnesota, somewhere. 28 touchdowns. Unbelievable. Having a great year.
2nd down and 5. The 3rd and about 2. Whitney Paul, number 51, makes the tackle on Joyne Crutchfield with help from Jim Wilkes. Of course, there's a wild card chase going on in the AFC, and Kansas City got 3 field goals from Nick Lowry today to defeat Denver. New England also a loser to St. Louis, 33-10. And Seattle now leading Detroit 28-17. So the Seahawks, with a victory today, would take a 1-game edge in the division over Denver, and the Raiders have increased their lead over Miami to 24-13. Going into today, 11-2, 11-3 for Denver. The Raiders 9-4, and New England now at 8-6. 3rd down, 2. Dickerson didn't get it. It'll be 4th down.
I'll tell you what.
And the Saints have found a spark.
You heard that old Mo. You can see it's kind of turned over. The defense has played good here in the 2nd half. Wilson coming in at quarterback has ignited the offense. They put 2 touchdowns on the scoreboard, 2 touchdown passes. Now it's spread over to the defense. They stop him here. Now they're going to get this football back. And this Misko guy, he hasn't really been kicking that well because they've been bringing, punters in all over the country trying to give him a little tryout because this guy hasn't been doing a good job. So they're going to get good field position here.
Misko on his last 11 punts has averaged only 33.5 yards.
Bad kick.
Bad kick. Jitter Fields at the 40 to the 45.
Well, Bum Phillips has got to be happy about the good field position. Now they need to take it on in there.
Timeout has been called. Back in Anaheim Stadium, Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw. 11:54 to go in the ballgame. The Saints are trying to make a comeback of it. They trail 24-0 at one point. They have a 1st and 10 at their own 45 with 11:54 to go and all 3 timeouts left. 4-man rush. Wilson screen pass intercepted. Reggie Doss almost had it. Almost had it. It was intended for Hokie Gajan, and Doss read the play and drifted back.
I tell you, their defense, the Rams' defense today, Vern, has been as responsible for this game, the outcome, or the results so far at 27 points, as the offense has. Once again, 71 had an opportunity for a big turnover that could have put the Rams back in the field position to go in and make another score and really make it hard for these Saints. He dropped the football.
That brings up a 2nd down and 10. After this play, we may have a temporary loss of power for about 10 seconds. It is in control, and we don't want you to be alarmed if that should happen. Wilson back to throw. Across the middle, man is open. Junior Miller, the tight end, across midfield near the 49-yard line. Tackle made by Jim Collins. And that'll bring up a 3rd down and 3.
What you're seeing right now is the Rams You know, you come up, they're playing these little zones. They got these guys up. They got the tight end going down, hunting a little seam and setting down. You know what you do? There are two types of passes you throw when you respect the defense in their rush. One of them is little quick 8, 10-yard hook patterns, and the other is a little 3-step slants and outs. Right now, he's throwing a little short hook zones and getting them off and doing a good job of it.
Hobie Brenner comes in motion on 3rd and 4. Blitz coming. They pick it up. Pass incomplete. Almost picked off by Carl Eckert. Intended for Brenner. It'll be 4th down.
There's Carl. Look at it, number 55. He said, golly, I had that thing right in my hands. Can you believe I let that thing get away? They had a little blitz on, and what he did, he came across to pick up the tight end come across. Now, when he did that, of course, Wilson didn't see him. He just thought the tight end would be wide open. You see Hobie coming out there? Now, Hobie comes inside. There's the blitz. It clears it. He sees that. But whoop, there's 55. It's right through his hands.
Not sure why, but the New Orleans Saints have called timeout.
Hey.
Harold Richardson on the right side, the special teams coach. And Bum Phillips talking it over with Dave Wilson.
Going to go for it. Why not?
Think so? Yep. 4th and 4. Looks like they might, Terry.
Yeah, well, that's why it's called timeout. You don't call timeout when you're going to punt the football.
Now, Dickerson has either found a new rock station or he's getting special instructions from upstairs.
I wonder what they're telling this guy. I mean, what do you tell a guy? That's a guy I recruited out of a little town in East Texas to go to Louisiana Tech. We did get him. He was supposed to. That's a guy I recruited out of a little town in East Texas to go to Louisiana Tech. We did get him. He was supposed to.
I want to welcome you back. We just had a temporary power loss. And it was expected and controlled, and we're back now at full steam. Henry Ellard and Leroy Irvin are deep.
Gee, I wonder why they call timeout if they're going to punt. Maybe they got one of these secret plays up their sleeve from special teams.
Well, the Rams are looking for one. Here's Hansen with a kick. Deep left corner. Looks good. Is great. Oh, kicked into the end zone. Unbelievable.
Johnny Cole, number 25, I believe it is.
And Bobby Johnson.
And Bobby Johnson came in and knocked it over with their legs and kicked it into the end zone. Boy, they had him set up down there on about the 1-yard line. Here comes Poe right here.
This is Johnny Poe coming at the ball.
Oh, we're looking at a dead ball. That ball's not going into the end zone. Right now, Johnny, just stop. Oh, there's Bobby Johnson, 34, comes over, and he's trying to cover the ball. Feet slip, knocks it into the end zone. Man, when it rains, it pours.
And it's still 27-14. Starting defensive back for the Rams, Johnny Johnson. Pitch out Dickerson.
I tell you now, this Saints defense has done a number on Eric in the second half. You know, in the first half, he was laying down those archive moves. Those things you cut the tape out and send it to Washington for later on when he goes into the Hall of Fame. But now, you got to bring the tape back because the guy's not, hadn't done anything here in the second half.
Archive move.
That's for lack of better words, I guess.
Would Bradshaw to Swan in the Super Bowl be an archive move?
No, that's not an archive move there.
An archive move. I like that. 2nd down and 8.
Maybe you don't.
Keep educating me, bro. Kemp will throw. Has time. Intercepted. Kovach. Jim Kovach, the linebacker, to the 20-yard line.
Man, you look at this and you say, why, my, oh my, why couldn't we be playing like this from the very beginning of the game? That time Kemp comes back, he sets his feet, he's got Mike Barber open down the middle. He had Mike Barber, the tight end, number 86, folks, in the right of your screen. See him go right now, he makes a move. Now, he's wide open. Lay the ball up, Jeff. Now, Jeff, there's that 2-iron again you were talking about, Vern. He drills the football in there instead of laying it up, and he gave the linebacker, 52, Kovach, a chance to make the interception, a big turnover. Now, he's wide open. Lay the ball up, Jeff. Now, Jeff, there's that 2-iron again you were talking about, Vern. He drills the football in there instead of laying it up, and he gave the linebacker, 52, Kovach, a chance to make the interception, a big turnover. Now they got it back on the 21-yard line.
That was only the 10th interception this year by the New Orleans Saints, and the first of the season for Dr. Jim Kovach, who got his first sack of the year last week. 1st down and 10 at the 21. 27-14 ball game. Draw play, Hokie Gaijon. To the 16-yard line. Charles DeJournay, number 70, drifting back from the nose tackle spot to make the tackle with help from Jim Collins.
you know, going back to Jeff Kemp, the quarterback, boy, one of the hardest things I had to learn, Vern, when I came over there, I had this strong arm, and I thought I could just throw it by everybody. And it gets you in trouble, a lot of interception. And as time goes by, he'll learn that. He'll get a better vision, and he'll see that, hey, you got to lay that baby up over those linebackers. Had he done that, big play that time at the time, as it is, Saints have an interception and driving.
That was only the 6th interception that Kemp has thrown this year. Wilson, deep left corner, adjustment on the route incomplete. Intended for Eugene Goodlow, and Leroy Irvin had pretty good coverage.
Oh, Irvin likes that. You know, like I said earlier, he loves the opportunity to know that you're going to attack him. He likes the idea of making something happen. Told me yesterday, he said, boy, you know, I got so much respect for Lester Hayes and Haynes over there at the Los Angeles Raiders that he said, I believe I'm every bit as good as those guys, and I love the fact that I know people are going to challenge me. They challenged him then. He did a good job of covering his receiver.
3rd and 6. Wilson, 10 out of 20 for 95 yards. There's Leroy Irvin.
There he is, 47.
Only 10 men in the lineup, and a late ad. Timeout. That's the second one for New Orleans. Jeff Groth was not in the offensive huddle, and he hurried onto the field, but not in time.
You know, you heard about special team. We got special this and special that. We got a special situation, a special player. You got an extra tight end going in. You got to have a receiver come in and take his place. These guys got to get on the same communication. You need 3 receivers. They need to know they need to be in that football game. Now, I don't know whose responsibility that was, but Jeff Groth needed to be in that football game. He should have been in there. Somewhere along the line, they messed up. Cost them a timeout.
It was their second. They got a 3rd down and 6 now. Groth and Young both wide right. 3-man rush. Reverse to Tyrone Anthony.
Great call.
He's got room. And he's got a 1st down inside the 10-yard line.
I tell you what made this work was the fact that they came out, showed pass, the linebackers turned their backs and ran back to their coverage. And then when they did that, they got no responsibility for support. Linebackers have to make the support. All right, watch. See, he goes back. He hands the ball off to number 22, Tyrone Anthony, comes around. There's nobody there for support. The linebackers have to be there. They're in coverage. Boy, that's a good job of running and an outstanding call by the coaching staff of the Saints.
Rookie running back from North Carolina makes a contribution, a big one on 3rd and 6. It's 1st and goal at the 8. His 3rd carry for 15 yards. He stays in the ball game. Touchdown, Brenner. Oh, no, he dropped the ball. Now, how it happened, I'm not sure.
Well, here's how it happened. He's open. There's the pass. Right between 2 linebackers. Actually, Hobie hadn't quite gotten his hands around. I wouldn't expect it. This is good timing by Wilson. He had to get the ball in there low and hard. There it is, low and hard, right in the old belly and low. Only thing that happened that time was Hobie wasn't quite ready for the football, and David got it in there a little bit early.
2nd and goal from the 8, 27-14 with 9:11 to go in the game. Blitz. Wilson reads it. This time it's caught. Eugene Goodlow. Only his 2nd touchdown catch of the year.
I tell you what, boy, you got to hand it to Dave Wilson. Man, he hung in there. He looked at the coverage. He went to his primary receiver, number 1. He was covered. He stayed. The pressure got him. He moved. Look at that. We love David Wilson. He moves outside. Bam, boy, he fired that football in there and got a touchdown. Good catch. Watch this. Drops, looks. He's covered. Whoops. Moves out. Covered. Now fired in there over the heads of Vince Houston. Good catch.
Morton Anderson to try and narrow the margin to 6 points. And how about this? 24-0 at one point in the 2nd quarter, and the Rams are holding on.
You see Ekron there blitzing. He comes outside. He moves in. Dodge comes inside. He moves outside again. He says, all right, here we go. Over the head. Over the top. Get up there, Eugene. Up over the top. There's the catch right over Irvin, the guy who's been wanting to make the big plays.
Eugene Goodlow becomes the 3rd wide receiver to catch a touchdown pass today.
I tell you, he leaped high, pulled it right down, made the big catch.
Terry, an interesting point. Coming into this ball game, the 14th week of the season, wide receivers had caught only 3 touchdown passes all season for New Orleans. And they've doubled that today, or equaled it rather. Uh-oh. Drew Hill. Morton Anderson had to knock him out of bounds. But what a day it's been for Dave Wilson, replacing Richard Todd. He's coming home. He was born and raised in Southern California, in the Anaheim area, as a matter of fact.
Well, you got to really take your hat off to the coaching staff for putting him in the game earlier. You know, they didn't do that earlier with Richard. Well, they did against the 49ers, but they got him in the game early, and he's responded. He's delivered. He's produced. And the team has rallied around him. You know, the offense has moved the football. The defense has played well. Now it's turned around. Now you got to say, hey, these Rams have their backs to the wall, even though they're leading this football game.
They do have good field position, and Eric Dickerson has the ball. Whatlett finally caught up with it.
This is a classic example of the things that the Saints had worked on for so long was the running backs dipping in guard. Watch, you see the pitch, simple little pitch, good line block. Now he cuts back, see the little cut back, and a good seam there. Pankey, 75, came back and made a good seam. Now he runs right through the tackles of 51 Whitney Paul, and then Frank Whatlett, number 49, had to come over and make the tackle on him.
138, 37 yards on 29 carries for Eric Dickerson. He is above the average needed to keep pace with O.J. Simpson's single-season record of 2003. Dickerson again. Gets smacked as he gets to the line of scrimmage by Bruce Clark, number 75. Our score 27-21, Los Angeles. Seattle extending its lead over Detroit now in the fourth quarter, 38-17. And the Raiders have fallen behind Miami. How about that?
How about that?
Dolphins trailed at one point, 24-13. And they have come back with 2 unanswered touchdowns and lead by 3. We've got 7:35 to go in this ball game. Both teams have 1 timeout left. Second down, 7. Blitz. Kemp has the man open. Henry Ellard.
Well, the sign of a good football team, a sign of a successful football team, if they're ever going to become championship, you have to be able to match people stride for stride with scoring, and you have to be able to come at them and take away things from them. Saints had been moving, scored 3 touchdowns. They came back. Boy, Saints committed with a strong safety blitz, put man-on-man Waymer out there on Henry Ellard. Boy, hits him with a good pass. He turns it inside and makes a touchdown out of it.
That's a 58-yard drive in only 3 plays. Here's Lansford for the extra point. Up and good. Henry Ellard, take a look from the end zone.
What you do when you're trying to get a team out of field goal situation, folks, is that you send people. You send the safeties to try to catch them by surprise. They send Russell Gary, number 20, of the strong safety, on a blitz. That puts Waymer, 44, man for man on this man, Henry Ellard, number 80. All he did was catch a simple little old hook, turn around, and outrun everyone. And boy, can this guy, hey, these receivers can run now. We're talking goal. We're talking Olympic speed.
They are pleased. And Ellard gets his second touchdown catch of the day from Jeff Kemp. Kemp is now 10 of 22 for 127 yards and 2 TDs, both to Henry Ellard. It began with a kickoff return from Drew Hill out near midfield.
I'll tell you one nice thing about that score that's in favor of the Saints, Vern. Maybe they did it too soon. 3 plays, 58 yards. Maybe they did. That may be to the advantage of the Saints if they can get that ball and move it back down the field again. Maybe that's to their advantage. That way they didn't eat up 5 and 6 yards. Hey, they're not on their helmets, are they? These guys are up on their knees. They're standing up. They're looking around. They're in this ball game again.
Skinner Fields. At the 16-yard line.
He's got that move down, doesn't he?
David Crodiff, number 28, made the tackle. Coming up next Saturday in the NFL Today, football, the state of the game. That's at 3:30 Eastern time. Talk about the competition between the goalposts and the competition on the airwaves. And you'll hear from some of the principals involved, including NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle. Then the Minnesota Vikings against the San Francisco 49ers, 3:30 Eastern time. 49ers now 13-1 for the year.
Hey.
Looking more and more like a contender.
They look like the best one, don't
Yep, they sure do. There is Stan Brock, who went out in the first half with a knee sprain. And boy, as gritty as he is, you know how much he'd love to be back in the lineup. Kelvin Clark had moved to right tackle. Handoff. Hokie Gaijon. Gary Jeter, number 77, made the tackle.
You know, they went to this 3-4 defense, 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. And the primary reason they went to it was because they were having trouble with their pass rush and their coverage and everything. They went to it. But you know, the thing I've noticed today with the 3 down linemen is the pressure they put on the quarterback and how well these 3 defensive linemen have stopped the run. They have done an outstanding job.
See the clock, 6:35 to go. 21 for New Orleans, 34 for the Rams. 2nd and 10. Into the flat for Gaijon. Out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Knocked there by Mel Owens and Jim Collins. Now for an NFL Today report. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
This may be the best quarterbacking performance we've seen since Terry Bradshaw was winning Super Bowls in Pittsburgh. Dave Craig's 5th touchdown pass. Only 2 other quarterbacks this year have done it. That Danny Marino and Mark Wilson. And Terry Craig looks awfully good.
Brent. Brent make a good agent, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. The tall guy right over here.
Hey, good view from up here, folks.
Wilson. Man is open. Incomplete. Eugene Goodlow. 4th down.
David took a shot that time, but he stood his ground. Those linebackers came up that time, Vern, and played tight on the backs underneath, so he had to go downtown, down deep. And you see Eugene Goodlow coming across the ball, throwing just a little bit high. Had it been a little lower, then David probably would have completed this. There he is, striding right through. Good form, stepped in there. Then right there. Number 77, Jeter, boy, busted him right when he got rid of the football.
Brian Hansen on the punt now, and Henry Ellard waits for it at the 35-yard line. 34-21 with 6:14 to go in the game. Rams led 24-0 at one point. Saw the lead diminish to 27-21. Watch him run. To the 44-yard line. Bobby Johnson, number 34, made the tackle. Let's bring you through the scores for this afternoon, the 14th week of the National Football League season in '84. Dallas over Philadelphia. They go 9-5 now and stay tied in the East with the Giants, who were 20-10 victors over the New York Jets. St. Louis kept a game back with a 33-10 victory at New England today. San Francisco 13-1 for the year as they demolish Atlanta 35-17. Green Bay fought back to win over Tampa Bay 27-14. Cincinnati in overtime over Cleveland by 3. And Buffalo beat Indianapolis to win its 2nd of the year. 1st down and 10. Dickerson coming left. Almost to the 39-yard line. 5:50 to go in the game. Continue with our updating of scores throughout the National Football League. Kansas City, 3 field goals in the final quarter to defeat Denver 16-13. Pittsburgh loses to Houston in overtime, 23-20. And that AFC Central race is very tight. Seattle leading Detroit 38-17 in the 4th quarter. And the Raiders have fallen behind Miami now, 27-24, also in the 4th quarter. Dickerson has carried 31 times for 146 yards. Redden and Crutchfield in the backfield in the eye. Kemp will throw it. Oh, boy.
I tell you got one of those situations where the quarterback was on one page and then Ron Brown, number 89, he was on another page. Look, Jeff said, look, I had to quick out, you had to slant. Now, next time, let's run the quick out. See, quarterbacks are always right. They say quick out, it's a quick out. What he saw then, he set Raymer up. He went right by him, but Jeff threw the quick out. Missed, you know, one of those little misfunctions there. You know, one of the things you got to look for, they anticipated blitz. You blitz people when you want to cause things that happen. Sacks, interceptions. They anticipated blitz, so they felt like they had been man for man. That's why they threw the football. It doesn't surprise me at all they tried to do that, Vern.
3rd and 5. Interceptor. Got it. That's his 4th of the year. Dave Waymer leads the Saints. And Jeff Kemp has thrown his second interception this afternoon.
Well,
Waymer
Dave,
may have fallen on the ball.
He felt it probably did knock the air out of him, but young Jeff is learning today that arm can get you in a whole lot of trouble, boy. It's nice to have that 300 Magnum sitting on your hip there, on your shoulder, wherever it sits, but he's got her out there, guns that baby out there. This is just a good play. Ball's a little bit late. Waymer comes in, makes a fine effort to intercept the ball. Earlier he gets burned for a touchdown. Now he comes back, great ones, and they redeemed themselves. Boy, that's a fine interception.
You think the ground may have helped him intercept the ball?
Well, I don't know, Vern. What do you think?
Looked like he might have gotten a little assistance. At any rate, Waymer appears to have had the wind knocked out of him.
Go down there and ask Dave if the ground helped him.
I'm sure it didn't, in his perspective. 5:05 to go. And
excuse me, go ahead.
Really, one of the real personable characters on the Saints, Dave Waymer is.
We're going to watch
another look at him.
He extends himself here. He sees the football, and he extends himself and lunges. See, he lunges out, grabs the football. Now, let's see if he has the ground. And I can't tell. But ref standing right there. He said he intercepted it, so, you know, we got to go by that. He intercepted it. He paid for it, too.
Physicians are still tending to Dave Waymer, who is now sitting up.
I'll tell you what, that's awful painful. I know, not being an athlete, you don't know what it's like to have your wind knocked out of you, but boy, that is a horrible experience for him to have your wind leave your body, like, especially when you land on something like a little football.
Well, he's up and he's all right. We're playing golf next week. 34-21, Rams over New Orleans.
A little golf ball hit you in the stomach, it could hurt too.
5:05 to go. Wilson not quite back to the line of scrimmage. That's the first time he has been sacked today.
Jim Youngblood, number 53, new blood, Youngblood. As a guy that they cut, they thought he was going to retire, and they released him, and he went on up to Seattle, and they released him, and he went somewhere else from there, and finally comes back here, and they brought him back in, and Johnny Robinson told us yesterday he's a guy that's not going to make the great play for you, but he's going to be right there. He's not going to make the mental mistakes. Good job that time by Jim Youngblood, number 53.
Second down, 11. Four-man rush by the Rams. Wilson drills it. Fumble. Rams have it. Tyrone Young. Jim Collins recovered.
This is a young man that's made a lot of big plays for these Saints throughout the season. They haven't thrown the football that much, and their wide receivers haven't caught that many, but when they have, this young man's been on the end of many of their exciting plays. He did a good job there of catching the football, and I can't fault a young man for turning around and trying to make something big happen in a game when they're behind. He did that. They stripped the ball out of his arm, caused the fumble, and the Rams recovered.
Turnover comes with 4:27 remaining in the ball game. That is the fourth turnover by New Orleans this afternoon. They've had 3 passes intercepted and the first fumble they have lost. Dickerson to the 43. I would think, Terry, that Bum Phillips has got to be a little pleased, though, by his team's comeback in this game.
Well, there are a lot of things that can happen in a football game at the end of the season. You would expect, well, yeah, they play Wilson just to give him some experience. They brought him in here in a game when Todd was not playing well. He's been the igniter. He's been the flame. Everything that's happened today has been caused by his appearance. At least that's the way it appears to us. Things have happened. They've scored points. Defense and offensively, they certainly have played up to their potential today, especially in the second half.
Dickerson again.
Jackson.
Ricky Jackson. It'll be 3rd and 7 as Jackson makes the tackle on Eric Dickerson.
You know, excuse me, bro, when you have those delay plays like that, you got a linebacker blitzing. Boy, he sits right there, and he's right on the halfback's hip, man. He just made the play. He almost caught him before he got the football.
That is the 33rd carry for Dickerson today. 148 yards.
What was that Coach Robinson told you yesterday about Dickerson? I looked at him. He comes off, and I look at his eyes to see if he's tired. So the guy never looks tired.
Never, ever. Well, I asked Eric yesterday. He said he can never, ever remember being tired in a football game. Pitch out, Redden. He's going to be caught and dropped. So the Saints will get the ball back as Frank Warren is over there with Ricky Jackson, number 57.
I tell you, great play that time by 75 defensive left end Bruce Clark. Boy, he manhandled the right. There he is. He manhandled the right-hand side of the offensive line that time. Ross Bollinger, number 73. Look, and comes inside, gets up underneath him. Bollinger doesn't even get a hand on it. He's right back there and nails him in the backfield for a loss.
Jenner Fields back to return the punt of John Misko, who's had anything but a great day.
I wonder if he's thinking about all those punters they brought in this week. Notably, one ex-Saint in Russell
Ertzlaeben. Been hanging around Southern California all week just in case.
I got him. Look at him pointing. I got him. You got him. You take him. Hey, good kick.
Sure is. Into the end zone. Touchback.
Gee, you talk about him, and then all of a sudden they knock a 60-yarder.
Boom. Rams get the ball back with 2:14 to go in the ball game. Coming up next Saturday, the NFL Today, the state of the game, football. And we'll talk about the competition on the field and the airwaves. That begins at 3:30 Eastern time. And will be followed by the confrontation featuring the Minnesota Vikings visiting the San Francisco 49ers at 3:30 Eastern time next Saturday on CBS Sports. First and 10 with 2:14 to go in the game. It was 44-0 midway through the second quarter, 24-7 at the half, Los Angeles. New Orleans came back behind Dave Wilson to cut it to 27-21 at one point. That's going to be out of bounds. Gary Green and Tyrone Young in the middle of the Ram bench. And the clock will stop at 2:07.
That's one of those old high school plays where you go out there, you say hook and go. You tell that guy hook and go. Tyrone Young, 89. He runs down the field. He stops and tries to get the corner to come up and commit to the pass at a fit, on the hook. And when you do that, then you turn around and you fly it normally wide open. Well, that time the corner did not bite. He just stayed back. It's a dead play.
John Robinson told us yesterday he wanted to throw the ball 20 times and run it 40 times. And look at that, 24 and 44.
Well, he lied to us now.
Wilson has an acre. Now he'll go deep for Junior Miller, who takes a pop on the helmet.
Gary Green, 27, boy, just unloads on 84 that time. Look at him talking about it. 22 and 27.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's one of those times when, once again, you're going to see Wilson gets outside the pocket. Instead of running, he says, hey, there's not that much time left in this game. We've got to get big things downfield, big plays. He gets outside. He fires. It looks like it's going to be a completion. And whop, 27 comes over. My gosh, Gary Green. And just unloads on big 84. And I'm talking big, folks. This guy here is about 255. Junior Miller.
2-minute warning.
Mr. Miller.
That's right. Los Angeles leading 34-21 with 2 minutes to go. It'll be 3rd down and 10 when play resumes. And assuming a Ram victory, they go 9-5 and stay right in the thick of the wild card things. They will be tied in the chase for the wild card with Washington, Dallas, New York. 4-way tie at 9-5, and the Cardinals just a game back at 8-6. New Orleans would fall to 6-8 and be mathematically eliminated from the wild card spot, assuming a loss here today. Now the Rams have Houston coming up, and then they have to visit San Francisco. One I would think would assume a victory by the Rams here against the Oilers, but a tough game up in San Francisco, the last game of the season, Terry.
Right, Vern.
I'm glad we don't pay you by the word.
I know. I was talking to our producer at that time while you were talking.
I didn't know that.
But whatever you said, I know it was the truth.
Absolutely. 3rd and 10. 3-man rush for Los Angeles. Wilson looks. Brenner has the pass. First down at the 40.
You gave it to him. That's right.
Yes, sir.
I tell you got to admire these guys. You got to admire David Wilson. You got to give it to Brenner for breaking that route off and getting downfield. These guys are, hey, they're saying, let's get down and let's score. Folks back in New Orleans that are watching this game today got to be impressed with the offense. I know they've been behind, but they've got to say, now, why don't you do this all the time? See, this is what happens. Why don't you throw this football all the time? Why don't you get out and make things happen and throw that football and spread it around like they're doing here in the second half?
Would you make the change at quarterback a permanent one for the end of the year?
Well, I'm not the coach.
I'm putting you on the spot
But
now.
I am going to say this. I would not be surprised if David Wilson starts next week.
Okay.
That would not surprise me at all. Matter of fact, it would almost be shocking if he didn't start.
Wilson now is 14 of 28, 3 touchdowns. He goes deep for Brenner and will be intercepted. Jim Collins trying to make something happen.
Well, when you try to make something happen, good things and bad things happen. A while ago, you had a good thing happen with the good adjustment by Brenner and the fine throw by David Wilson on a little scramble. That time, try to get that football in there, drill it in there. You get the best linebacker and 50 Jim Collins covering him. He just makes a fine play. You don't fault people for this. When they're making an effort and when they're giving 100%, you don't fault them for that. It's when they look like they're not doing it. I said the ball's a little bit behind and Jim was able to make the interception. Watch Wilson's reaction to this, as most quarterbacks' reactions are when they see this. You got it. Look at this. This guy wants to win. This guy's a winner. Get that attitude. I like his attitude.
Rams take over with a 34-21 lead and 1:42 remaining in the ball game. Both teams with 1 timeout left. Eric Dickerson has carried 33 times. He's on the bench now. Barry Redden gets the pitch out, slips and falls, and is down at the 40-yard line by Whitney Paul. Final score, Seattle wins over Detroit 38-17. The Seahawks, who trailed Denver much of the year, now have a 1-game edge with 2 to play.
You know, one interesting thing in looking at that Seattle score, there's a football team that has slowly gotten better. While the Dolphins came out and were blowing everyone away early in the season, you know that old thing called peak at the right time. It seems like the Seahawks now are peaking right at the end of the season. And on the other hand, it looks like the Dolphins may have leveled off. Still, their level off, their plane of leveling off is still mighty high. There's young Dave Wilson.
Steve Court sitting next to him on the bench.
There's a guy that's potential all-pro at center, has played guard almost this entire season.
Because of injuries. 1:29 to go. Executive producer of the NFL on CBS is Terry O'Neill. Our senior producer is Charles H. Milton III. Today's game from Anaheim produced by Michael Burks and directed by John McDonough. Associate producer John Fortunato, our associate director Sarah Fisher, and it's great to have her back with us working the game. Philip Wilson, field technical manager, and our broadcast associate Vinny DeVito, who can imitate announcers about as well as anybody I know. I haven't heard him do you yet.
No, I'm hard to do.
And the guys who supplied the pictures and the videotape today. Thanks to all of you. 2nd down and 12.
Hope we get Christmas presents.
Barry Redden near midfield. Clock will wind down with 1:13 to go. I'm curious about what you think of LA's chances in the playoffs. They've got to go for a wild card spot, of course, because the 49ers have locked up the division championship.
Well, I think they would like to have their first game at home, so they were hoping one of those 3 teams would lose today, and maybe they'd, you know, in that point system, they'd have one of these guys out here. But I like what they did today. Their running game is outstanding. Their defense, I think, is a good, solid defense. The thing that I was very encouraged by today was the fact that they attacked the Saints with their passing attack. And this is something that they've been saying here in Los Angeles. They need to throw the football more. If they get that balance there, and it's a very consistent one, I think they have a very good chance. Any one of those wild card teams could pull off some upsets on the way.
Good look at Bill Bain, who's had a good day. Another in a continuation of fine days at right tackle for the Rams this year. LA has used its final timeout. You saw the update on that score. The Raiders back in front of Miami. They went in front on a 75-yard pass from Mark Wilson to Dokie Williams. It's 31-27, and the score came with 8:53 remaining in that game.
That's one of your great football names, Dokie Williams.
Dokie Williams. We've got 43 seconds to go in our game. New Orleans back home against Cincinnati next week, and then they close out the year at the New York Giants on a Saturday in December. 3rd down and a long one. Barry Redden coming left, gets by Glenn Red, and reaches the 50, but that will probably not be enough for the first down as Dave Waymer, number 44, made the tackle. Thank our crew upstairs, Gary Bradshaw, Dave Yagi, Joe Cash, and Nancy Lundquist for helping us out as the clock winds down. 20 seconds. We do have a large crew in the booth. And as the clock winds down, the Rams go to 9-5. Eric Dickerson with 148 yards today. Keeps on pace in his chase with O.J. Simpson. Our final score, the Los Angeles Rams defeat the New Orleans Saints 34-21.